The NFC West with a big win in Inglewood yesterday. And how about the Suns? They're in Miami tonight. They'll take on Jimmy Butler and the Heat. And then ASU suffer their first loss of the season, falling short in overtime to Texas Southern yesterday.
Oh, boy.
67-66. Welcome in Roc, Manuch, Jimmy B, Jax, and Ben. We are live at the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona for tonight's Washington-Philly Monday night game. Giving away the cash just for watching Monday Night Football. Jackpot will start at just over $2,200. We encourage you to come down. Game time about 6:15. So we hope that you'll come down and try to win some of this cash. There's a lot of it, and we'll be giving it away tonight. We'll be doing our props. We'll do our squares. We'll do our kickoff jackpot. And it's all here at the CAZ Sports Bar. And it's free. All you got to do is have a player's reward card, and they're free. And many of you that have a card, they don't send you emails all the time. They don't spam you. So it's a great card, and you get some nice deals with it. Let's get into the stories. There's a few of them.
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
Well, yesterday we got to see a battle of the backups there in SoFi, as Kyle Murray was sidelined with his hammy, Matthew Stafford with the NFL's concussion protocol, which he was in, and we got to see Colt McCoy get off to a good start. Did well, threw for 238 yards, got a touchdown, as the Cardinals now 4-6. They do turn their attention to next Monday night, as they will be in Mexico to play the San Francisco 49ers, who had a big win yesterday, and they are looking really good.
Sure are.
But good game for them. It's good to see Colt McCoy now 3-1 as a starter. And I know we're going to talk about it quite a bit. We have our React Monday coming up here in just a few minutes. You'll have an opportunity to chime in. Manuch is just jonesing to get in and talk about this game. So's Jimmy B, so we'll dive into that. But we want to get you caught up in some of the stories. First of all, ASU, the Coyotes got crushed yesterday, 4-1 to the Rangers. They had a back-to-back.
They did.
3-2 on this first segment. They had 4 segments, 14 games on the road. They are back home now. They'll be here for a few days, and then they'll head over to Vegas, I believe, on Wednesday for a Thursday night game. So they do have a little bit of a break, but they will face Vegas on Thursday. ASU football, if you missed it over the weekend, they're not going to a bowl game, as they got crushed by Washington State. It was 28-0 at halftime. They lost 28-18, and they now dropped to 3-7 on the season. 2 games remaining, and they need 6 to be bowl eligible. They got Oregon State this Saturday in their home finale. Guys, I'm listening to the game. I didn't get a chance to watch it, and it was just pitiful.
Yeah, it was. It's a good thing you weren't watching.
Yeah, they struggled. Their defense was all over this ASU offense, and quite frankly, they were prepared. I think Sean Aguano calling the play calling really couldn't go nowhere. Emory Jones had to come in. Trenton Bourguet getting sacked, getting hammered, looked unsettled. Just the pressure that they weren't ready for. And Wazoo's got a pretty solid defense, and they're not a team that's going to put a lot of points on the board, but they just play solid football, and there's really no match. There's really no answer in the second half when didn't see any adjustments. And when Jones came in, okay, they did okay in reference to trying to move the ball. But Trenton Bourguet really was off schedule, off kilter as far as trying to get the ball down the field. And they pretty much, aside from running game, as you could run, but they just couldn't knock it down and punch the ball in the end zone whatsoever.
Staying with ASU, the Hoops team, they fell short. They lost overtime 67-66 to Texas Southern. They're now 2-1. They'll head to Brooklyn to face VCU on Wednesday as part of the Legends Classic. Arizona, they're on the road this week. They host Utah Tech, Grand Canyon. They have gambling. They have Grambling on Friday. Gambling, yeah. Here we are, Casino Arizona.
Grambling.
What the hell is Utah Tech?
That's a new one. I've never heard of Utah Tech.
I've never heard of Utah Tech.
I mean,
I've heard of Utah State and Utah and Southern Utah. I've never heard of Utah Tech.
You wonder what they get paid. You know, they were. You have heard of Utah Tech?
We have.
Yes.
When?
They are formerly Dixie State.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you would have said Dixie State, okay.
I never got the memo. They
They're
switched
right there.
names.
They're in
Well,
St. George, Utah.
Yes, they
right,
are.
they are.
So I guess
But Dixie State.
maybe. What was wrong with Dixie State?
Yeah.
They
Kind
got
of like the Commodores and the Commanders and everything else. I mean, is this offending somebody?
They went from a JUCO college many years ago to a regular college, and
They
now
did.
to Utah Tech.
Okay.
So
All right. Now I know.
yeah, they had no idea.
I wonder why they had to change. I mean, they're
Well, who knows?
the Trailblazers now.
Where maybe it's a very conservative state, that being Utah. Maybe they want a connotation about Dixie and down south or whatever. I
Okay.
don't know. That's the only thing I could surmise, because we've always known them as Dixie State. They come in the Valley, recruit a lot of the football players.
They do.
They're all over the Valley when they were JUCO and football program and basketball. Utah Tech. So if I ask some of my quarterbacks, okay, is Utah Tech talking to you? If they go, yeah, not coach, yeah, they haven't, then they'll know that the word's out there that it's a former Dixie State.
Okay.
I think they just want to be called UT. They're just trying to play off.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's for recruiting.
There might be some naming rights issues with
Ooh,
that
there could
gets
be.
out there. Kind of like the 12th man scenario that was finally settled between A&M and the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
We do have some sad news on a national level. 3 football players at the University of Virginia were gunned down Sunday night in a shooting that also injured a couple other students. And the suspect is a student and a former member of the football team, played on the team a few years ago as a freshman. He's in custody. There was more than a 12-hour manhunt to find him on the campus there in Charlottesville. And the whole school was under shelter in place. That was the order that was set. Sad story there, and our thoughts and prayers, go to a lot of people there, as it just makes no sense. A deadly attack, I believe, happened in a parking garage.
Yes.
Just horrible.
Yeah, and that news hit late last night. And when you hear that suspect still out there amongst people, you go to bed last night and go, my gosh, I hope they eventually catch this individual and nobody else gets shot. But the only thing we can surmise is that families are taken care of. The lockdown is officially over with capturing this young man. It's just very sad, guys. And this is late on a Sunday evening that this all goes down. And for the football team and for so many, they've kind of put everything on hold there at UVA.
Eagles undefeated. They'll put their undefeated record on the line tonight as they host the Commanders at Lincoln Field in the Link in Philadelphia. They're 8-0 in the season. They're coming off a win over the Texans. Washington, they're coming. They're hoping to bounce back off a close loss to the Vikings last week. Speaking of the Vikings, big win over Buffalo. We'll dive in that at the top of the 2 o'clock hour. We're going to kind of go around the NFL and kind of give you some of the good sound from the weekend if you missed it. Even though a lot of you just get stuck on Sunday nights just watching, Sports Center over and over and NFL Network. You see the same highlights.
No, that's
this
you.
morning. Yeah,
That's you.
That's me too, Jimmy. I'm out there looking around. I can go to YouTube to see some of the games.
I generally watch it probably twice.
Yeah.
And then I'm done.
Yeah,
Then
twice is
then
probably
I
my
check
limit
out.
is, too.
Yeah. I check out.
I
then.
do want to say I had the pleasure of attending yesterday's Cardinals game, and I was fortunate enough to take my other hat I wear as Chief Marketing Officer for Bell Bank Park Legacy Sports. Got to take some of our founding partners that have been part of the park since we opened, and got to go to SoFi,
Right.
and we had what they call it's a cabana.
3.
It was on the field, so you literally had to go down 3 levels
Wow.
from field level or from
Ground level.
ground level,
Yeah.
and it was absolutely amazing. I'm literally you're on the front row, and you can literally just reach over and touch the grass, and I was probably 20 feet from the field.
Wow.
Like, in other words, the actual field itself,
Right.
within the mark.
You're right there, Rock.
And we were on the Cardinals side. We were on about the 20-yard
Okay.
line, and hospitality unbelievable. That stadium is unbelievable. The crowd, granted, it's LA folks. They sit on their hands. They were late, just like you see at Dodger Stadium. But I will tell you, the game presentation, what they do in the actual stadium,
Right.
is by far one of the best I've seen in years. And I've been a lot of places. I was just in Cleveland for the Pittsburgh game on a Thursday night, and the amount of energy
2.
that is circling throughout that stadium was really cool. And I give a lot of credit to a lot of Cardinal fans that showed up. I mean, there were a couple that were right behind us upstairs a little bit that it wasn't shut up, but they were fanatics. You know, it gets to the point. Well, yes, it's
were they Rams fans or Cardinal fans?
They're Cardinal fans.
Okay, all right.
So they get to the point where they're just so loud, you know, yelling like, you know, Kyler, 'cause he's on the sideline, right? Like he's really gonna, you know,
acknowledge him. Hey, how you doing, folks?
And like,
glad you're here.
The kicker Lee was right in front of me the whole time, and he's looking up, he's rolling his eyes at these guys because they're trying to get his attention.
Absolutely.
Because once you start, then it's just gonna keep going. You know, Manuch.
Oh yeah.
And it was just. I mean, it was all right. It was all right for the first quarter, but when they were all liquored up, I mean, it's just like shut up already, you know. But no, seriously, it was a great time, and it was like open food bar. It was kick ass.
Yeah. Nice.
There you go.
I gotta tell you, I've been to Jerry World, so have you. It's got a lot of feel of Jerry World.
Yep.
Just so many levels, and the LED was 5 levels of LED.
Wow.
You know, typically you see the wraparound an arena.
Yep. The ring.
5 rings that went around that thing.
Was it as
I mean, it just glowed.
Was it as ginormous as AT&T?
Oh my gosh, it's not bigger.
Wow, really?
I haven't been to AT&T. It's been 5 years, 6 years.
Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
I saw ASU Notre Dame there. I saw a Cowboy game.
Yeah.
But it's kick ass. I can see why they'll get the Super Bowl a lot.
Well,
but I will tell you, Inglewood is a you know what I want to say there. It's bad.
It's not a very well designed, or it's beat up. It needs a facelift. Yeah,
but it's really cool. Just down the street, they're building the new arena for the Clippers.
Yes,
the forum's still there. Up called the Kia Forum. That thing is still up and running. It's a bucket list. Mark it down.
Right.
And it's so easy to get in and out of. The customer service was tremendous. Hello, welcome, goodbye, thank you.
Wow.
You don't see that. Like,
No.
they're probably so close to Disney. They probably have the Disney way of doing things. So, anyway. But, hey, we're out here for Monday Night Football at Casino, Arizona. Love to have you come down to join us for Washington, Philly tonight. We're going to have some fun. Monday React. We need you. 602-260-9191. Tell us your thoughts on what you saw yesterday. We're going to really dive into now a little bit of a controversy with quarterback. Does Colt McCoy go up against San Francisco? Is it Cliff play calling? Was it Kyler Murray? There's so many things we're going to get into next. But if you want to chime in, something that's just kind of bugging you, give us a call. 602-260-9191. Just getting started. It's Fox Sports 910.
602-260-9191. That's 602-260-9191. Time to vent or praise your team from this weekend's games. React now with Roc and Manuch. Get on the phone now.
Yeah, that's a credit to him, man, to be able to go out there and do that first playing time of the season. Really didn't do much in training camp. Had a couple injuries come up. Had an injury to start the season.
That was a hot 10 seconds.
Still be able to settle in and just get the ball out, avoid the negative plays, be efficient, do all those things. And the whole week during practice, the way he led and professionalism there early, stayed late, communication was just through the roof. It was awesome to see.
Cliff Kingsbury on his backup quarterback, Colt McCoy, as Arizona now 4-6, snapped that 2-game losing streak. And Cliff is now, he's got 2 wins now in 8 tries against Sean McVay, as we were always having some fun with that down the road as Sean McVay owned Cliff Kingsbury. But, he finally got one. And, it was interesting watching him on the sideline where I was sitting yesterday's game is, Cliff, as you can see on television, too, when you watch the games, he's by himself.
Right.
Yes.
But things that I kind of was awkward is you see Tristan, the kicker,
Vescano.
Yeah. Kicks a field goal, comes off the field, and walks right by Cliff. And Cliff doesn't even acknowledge him. Give him a pat on the ass or something hey, good job, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the guy that got off the scraps this week.
Sure did.
And, what's this, our 4th kicker this year?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just watching, because it's like when you're on the sideline, as you know, you're watching.
You do.
And because it's so low, you're watching the screen up there at SoFi. So I'm watching the sideline. I'm watching what Kyler's doing. I'm watching what J.J. Watt does after he comes off the field. Every time he comes off the field, he gets a tablet right away, and he sits with one of the coaches. I mean, him and Allen. And it's just kind of cool to see that. But Cliff kind of just he's talking to somebody the whole time in his headset. And and it's even defense. When the defense is out, he's out there just on the side by himself. It's just interesting.
Yeah, he's focused. He's focused on offense only, thinking ahead, thinking of situations. And like I said, he's just let Vance Joseph do his thing and make those adjustments. I feel sometimes I do the same thing, Rock, when I can watch him when the TVs do catch him. He wants to stay away out of the way. It seems like last week he went to the offense and gathered their troops and gave him a little bit of a pep talk, which is rare. But I think what Cliff Kingsbury does is he wants to make sure he stays ahead of the game, situations. He's talking to the guys up in the booth about how this look, how that look. He's always focused on the offense constantly. And I thought right there in that soundbite that we had there, as far as Colt McCoy, he's there early, he stays late, he's a professional, he does a lot of things that we look forward to. He's a leader he's a leader in that locker room. He does a lot of things. I don't think that's a shot at Kyler Murray. It's just kind of like, hey, look. I think the shot was hey, Kyler, watch Colt McCoy as he learns how he prepares.
The intangibles, Manuch.
Yes,
it's
exactly
the intangibles. Right. I think that's the word I take away from Colt McCoy. He has the intangibles. And maybe, and if he doesn't play this week, that being Kyler, it could be another week of him learning.
You know what? I think my whole thing is I probably would say, okay, Kyler, you got the tweaked hammy. Let's err on the side of caution as an excuse here, guys. And let's just continue to play Colt. Going to Mexico against San Francisco, and then you got the LA Chargers at home. Why not? Why not let him play the next couple games? He's won 3 out of the last 4 games. This offense, when I watch
that he started.
When I watch Colt McCoy, I see a very efficient, a fluid, not such a haphazard offense. Take the sack when you need it. No turnovers, no interceptions. Puts the ball where it's supposed to be. He's accurate.
They don't run the ball though.
Well, they did run the ball yesterday.
Yes, not for a while. It took a while. They didn't start the game running the ball.
They ran 11 straight pass plays.
Yes.
I think that was just basically to send a mess. I thought that was some ego in Cliff Kingsbury to say, okay, we're going to beat you. We're going to throw the defense off balance and show them you're not going to get to our guy because I'm going to go bubble screen, quick slant, bubble screen, hook. But the thing is the way Colt McCoy reads the defense and gets the ball out on timing, rhythm, and tempo versus Kyler dropping back and going, left, right, and then throw it. I just see more fluidity, if there's a term, with this offense, with Colt McCoy running the offense.
That is a term, but let me drop this on you. Michael Bidwell is the owner. How much is he paying Kyler Murray?
I hear you.
Just wait.
I hear what you're saying.
Just wait.
Everyone's
He's paying him a lot of money, and I went through this. I saw it firsthand. in Buffalo where you had Rob Johnson and Doug Flutie. Flutie beat Johnson out for the starting job about middle of the season, took the team to the playoffs. The owner was PO'd in Ralph Wilson at that time, who, rest his soul, has passed away. But he told Coach, you're going to play Rob Johnson at quarterback because I'm paying him $5 million a year. I signed him to that big contract at that time, and they played Rob Johnson, and he was awful in that game, and they got beat.
Exactly. Well, what happened is Rob Johnson got hurt. So Flutie came in, had to play 4 or 5 games.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden Buffalo caught fire. I remember them coming to the Sun Devil Stadium, and they blew out the Cardinals.
I was there doing the game.
Yeah, they blew out the Cardinals, but he got hurt. So Flutie, all of a sudden, they're catching. They're throwing their rhythmic. Their offense is moving.
Everything. Yep.
So yeah, to that point, Ralph did call the shot on say put Rob Johnson.
You can almost make a case to Jimmy's point that the Cardinals have been a below average organization for 50 plus years.
Sure.
Winning has never been a priority, at least from a fan perspective, because they would have spent a lot of money in the past and would have made a lot of moves, and they haven't. Michael's going to make a lot of money no matter what.
Exactly.
He's going to make a lot of money no matter what. But yeah, I think he's going to get some mud in his face if Kyler doesn't play, and everybody's going to bring up the $30 million, all the money that Kyler's making.
Fans
but I
don't
think
care, guys.
Exactly.
Fans
I think that's what I was going to get to.
No.
My point next was going to be, as a fan, as a Cardinal fan, you don't care how much they're spending.
Hell no.
My ticket price goes up every year. As a season ticket holder, I just want to see wins, and I don't care how they get them. But don't you think that? I mean, if this team makes it to the playoffs, that's going to make more money for Michael.
Yeah, and I think that you've seen it over the years. There's been many starters in the NFL that are making a ton of dough that have been quasi injured. So why hurry Kyler back? I get it; he's your starter, but this offense just looks so much more fluid, so much more different, so much more NFL-ish, if that's a term, guys. To say, look, he's controlling it; he's got it here. It just looks more fluid and more efficient, mistake-free. And then James Conner had 76 yards rushing. That running game, and I said it on Friday, if they get him on the perimeter, they'd have success. They ran on the perimeter because they couldn't run against this 3-4 defense inside. Quick passing game, a few draws, and on top of that, A.J. Green got involved because they saw the mismatches. So a lot of this is with Cliff. I think Cliff did a good job with the play calling, and I think he could trust Colt McCoy as a veteran quarterback to make the changes he saw, and he did that as he checked off several times for some of those drives for touchdowns.
It just as a fan, and I didn't play the game like you did, Manuch, it just seems when Colt McCoy is in there, him and the head coach are in sync. And it just feels more comfortable.
Did you see all the communication they had the entire game? Mm-hmm. Cole would come off, he'd talk to him, they talk about this and talk about that. Matter of fact, at the end of the game, it was pretty much over. You could see he's over there talking to Cliff and laughing a little bit about this, and this. It was good to see that communication of that, and I think that's vitally important, unless Kyler's just too hard-headed to listen to Cliff during the game. And it was like, Colt was like, hey, what'd you see? What'd you like? And it's interesting you were there, Rock, to see that dynamic on the sideline.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have that the entire game with your quarterback. And I think Cliff, it's almost like Cliff was like, man, I'm having a good conversation with this adult in the room that understands.
Why doesn't he have that same communication then with Kyler
Murray? Because
it
seems to be that's a Kyler Murray hard-headedness that I see, that I watch. And
we don't know,
we don't know. But maybe Cliff's more comfortable with here's a true vet that gets it and understands what I want to do and not fight me on what somebody else wants to do and run this offense the way I think it should be run. And on top of that, he's another Texas guy.
And
Tyler and Cole, another Texas guy in the room, right?
Yeah. Well, we're going to have all week to talk about who's going to start, who's not going to start. It won't be smart for Cliff to say who his starter is. You need some gamesmanship.
He'll let it play out.
Need some gamesmanship because the game is until next week anyway. There in Mexico. Hey, we'll get some thoughts from Rudy Carpenter. He will join us next, get his take on Colt McCoy's play yesterday as the Cardinals win a game and snap that 2-game losing streak. We're out here at Casino Arizona, the CAZ Sports Bar for tonight's Monday night football game between the Commanders and the Eagles. Hopefully you can come out and join us. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Fox Sports 910.
Manuch on Fox Sports 910 on FM at 99.9 HD2. To the end zone. A.J. Green makes the
Guys are hot 5 seconds.
for a Cardinals touchdown over David Long in the corner of the end zone.
Fox with the call as McCoy to A.J. Green, a 6-yard touchdown there. And McCoy finished 26 of 37, 238 yards, a touchdown. He averaged 6.5 yards per attempt. If you go back to what Kyler did last week, he was averaging 5 yards per attempt against Seattle. But joining us now on the right to the guest line, former Sun Devil and NFL quarterback Rudy Carpenter. Rudy, how you doing, buddy? What's happening this Monday?
Oh, I'm doing good. Living the dream, enjoying the California weather.
I was there yesterday. I enjoyed it. It was nice weather, very, very nice. And so, what's your biggest takeaway? How'd you think Colt McCoy did?
Well, I thought he played great given the circumstances. Right, I think it's really, really difficult as a backup quarterback to play well. I mean, you get very, very, very little practice time. It's very difficult. So I thought Colt did a tremendous job. One of the things that stuck out to me the most is something that I think I, really come on this show and talk about every week, which is, to me, the operation, the way plays are called, the way personnel is changed on and off the field, when the play is called, the play clock getting so low, pre-snap penalties, all of that has been terrible for the Arizona Cardinals, and really has been terrible since Cliff has been here. With that being said, last year and this year, when Colt McCoy is the quarterback, the operation looks 100 times better to me. I don't know if anybody else sees it, but to me, that's the way that I feel, and it's interesting to me when you pair that with how well Colt has played, his completion percentage, the wins and losses, along with the study clause that the Arizona Cardinals try to put inside of Kyler Murray's contract.
Rudy, I said the same thing at the open here when we talked about the last segment. I said the fluidity of the offense, the way things are run. I pretty much was a ditto of what you just said. And on top of that, Cliff talking about how well he prepared. He's a professional, in early, out late. Guys in the locker room really respect him. And I guess he did have a chance to be the guy all week, knowing that probably going to sit Kyler for this game. But I agree with you. I just see more more of a professionally run offense when Colt's in there. I don't see helter-skelter or grab bag. And it seems as though Cliff is more confident in the game, in the play calls that he calls when Colt's in there.
Well, it's a lot easier to predict. I mean, look, when you're a coach and you're a quarterback, and we all know, like, all right, everybody knows. The defense knows. I mean, defensive coaches know. Offensive coaches around the league know that, like, when a certain play is called, we all understand as players around the league and in the locker room how this play is going to be read, how the quarterback's going to look at it, how the quarterback's going to diagnose it. The information he's getting from that pre-snap read and post-snap read is telling him how he is going to progress through his read in the pass play. Almost all NFL teams do it the same. Almost all the coaches do it the same. Almost everybody runs the same offense and the same concepts. It's just about when you call them and how you call them and a bunch of other, minor details that are actually really big details. So that is what it is. And so when you're a coach and you're calling plays and you understand what the defense is doing and you can predict it, you can better predict what my quarterback's going to do. Sure. You can better predict how the quarterback's going to go through his progression. You can better predict on who's going to get the ball. You can better predict on who's going to get targeted. It's not just we're going to call the play and we're going to let Kyler go out there and do what Kyler's going to do. You've heard this a million times too, Dan. It's like, hey, if you make a mistake, that's fine. Just give your coach a good reason. Give him the answer as to why you made that decision. As long as you have an answer for why you made a certain decision, then it's a learning moment. We'll get better. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it did. My fear with Kyler is that he's always been such a great athlete. He's always been someone who's been able to ad lib. He's always been somebody who's been able to get himself out of trouble. And there comes a point in time where it doesn't work anymore. It still works now. It just doesn't work consistently all the time. And so now he has to become a precision passer. Now he has to learn how to play on time and make good decisions and throw with anticipation and be incredibly accurate. That's when it's really difficult. The guys who can do both, that's when they obviously become Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes is nowhere near the athlete that Kyler Murray is, but he presents the threat. But he's difficult to defend because he can touch every single blade of grass in the passing game. And ultimately, that's why the Arizona Cardinals paid Kyler Murray $250 million, because if he ever puts it all together, he can absolutely be the most dynamic player in the league.
All right, Rudy, let me follow up with that then. James Conner had a nice game running with the football. Kyler Murray hasn't had that the last couple of games. How did that change the dynamic then and made it easier for McCoy?
Well, there's no doubt that it made it easier and it changes the dynamic. I mean, you don't want to be predictable. I think the Los Angeles Rams over the last couple seasons, even with their success, have gotten into some trouble with their lackluster run game, or even the Bucs to a certain extent, or the Packers to a certain extent. But I don't think that's the issue. To me, I think it's been the same issue all year long, and this is where it's a little unfair for Cliff. The offensive line has been decimated, and it's really, really hard to play football at a high level and execute at a high level in the NFL when you have a decimated offensive line. It is really difficult. It is already hard enough to block. It is already hard enough to pass protect against guys like Aaron Donald. But when you have to do it with your backup players, it is impossible to do. So, I mean, that's, to me, what has been the big issue with the Arizona Cardinals. The big issue has been, obviously the injuries along the offensive line, and then they just haven't been able to put their entire roster of players together healthy on the field 100% at the same time yet this year. And again, look, I call out Cliff when I think he deserves to be called out, and I think he's one of the worst coaches in the NFL when it comes to operation and when it comes to situational football. But, I mean, on the other hand, it has definitely hurt him having all of these injuries and or suspensions. It's very difficult to play at a high level when you don't have your highest paid guys.
Rudy Carpenter joining us here on the right to guest on Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B. Rudy, you look at Rondale Moore and the 9 catches yesterday. Are they finally getting him in rhythm, finally utilizing him in the manner they thought they would 2 years ago when they drafted him in the second round?
I have no idea, but I mean, what we know is that when he has the ball in his hands, he's dynamic. That's what we know. When he has the ball in his hands, he's dynamic. As a matter of fact, we all come on here, and I know I haven't bashed Steve Keim a ton, and I think he deserves it. But look, all of these guys who he's brought in have all flashed. Kyler Murray has flashed. DeAndre Hopkins flashes. J.J. Watt flashes. A.J. Green has even flashed, right? Rondale Moore has flashed. Hollywood Brown has flashed. I mean, all of these guys have flashed. It's really been about getting them on the field and healthy and all executing at the same time at a high level, right? That is what the issue is. And so, I mean, I think ultimately, again, it's just really, really hard to win when you don't have your most explosive players like Rondale Moore. But again, I think it also, when you have Colt McCoy as your quarterback, and you can call plays with the understanding that when we call this play, this is the guy we're trying to get the ball to, and you can rely on him making that decision and doing what he's coached to do and what the play is designed to do, rather than someone who just decides he wants to throw it to Hopkins because, or he wants to run because, or he wants to throw this ball just because. I mean, I think it makes it easier as a play caller, and maybe that's part of the issue too.
Our State 48 Roofing, it's your call question of the day, Rudy. I want to throw it by you. Colt McCoy has now won 3 of 4 games as a Cardinals QB. Should Cliff Kingsbury leave him in at starter until the bye? And the answers are either yes, offense runs smoother, no, Murray is better, or 3, they should platoon. Even you were to go to @Roc and Manuch on Twitter and vote. What way would you lean on this?
Well, I mean, look, to me, it's not even a question that you can ask because, look, everybody understands the business. Business-wise, you can't pay a guy what you're paying Kyler Murray and not playing. It's not going to happen.
Until the bye, though, Rudy. Till the bye. This is make or break.
Yeah, Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I mean, for me, I would do it just because I feel like, and I want to see, you know, for me, I would do it. Yeah.
Two.
He's the man. We always love having him on the show. That's
it.
good stuff.
I
He's
second
being
the motion on
politically
that.
correct there.
Rudy.
I love it. So, hey, Rudy, as always, man, thanks for making time for us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good week.
Hey, you can follow him on Twitter, Rudy G Carp 12. Believe he's verified. I think he's going to pay the $8 or whatever it is to get verified on Twitter. So, Rudy G Carp 12. I don't know what it is. Jax would know. How much is it going to cost to get verified on Twitter?
I think it's $8.
Is it $8?
Yeah, it's $8.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, get the check mark, right? Get
Yes,
that check
get
mark.
the
blue mark.
So, yeah. So, hey, he's brought to you by All City Towing, and they are growing. That's right. They're hiring. Head to allcitytowing.com. They got current full-time positions available right now, and they have incredible benefits, including a 401k program that has a generous company match. The fastest way to apply is just go online, allcitytowing.com, and search careers. That's allcitytowing.com and search careers. You can always call the HR department right now. Get right in, 480-833-7278. That's 480-833-7278. They're the biggest in the state. You see them everywhere. All City Towing, allcitytowing.com. Good to see Rudy.
Yeah.
Glad he can make it on the program. If you want to see him, you can always go download the YouTube page for Roc and Manuch. Also, it's on Twitter and it's on Facebook. So just search Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B, and you'll find it, and you can watch Rudy Carpenter there. So good stuff. Coming up, we are going to dive into more Cardinal talk. Got our 72 sold on this day report, so we got a lot to get into. Coming up in hour number 2, we will talk a lot of college football. I want to dive into that quite a bit, kind of recap this past week in the National Football League, and Craig Fouey will stop by, and then Frank Sanders a little bit later as well. We'll continue on. We're out here at Casino, Arizona, the CAZ Sports Bar for tonight's Monday night game between Washington and Philadelphia. It's Fox Sports 910. Head coach Don Shula picked up his 325th win, which earned him the NFL record. Still holds a record, 347 wins. What's Belichick at? It's got to be close.
He's getting there.
Getting there, yeah.
I think he might play it out until he gets the all-time wins. What's Belichick now?
He's over
close to 70. Is he a 70-ish now? 69, 70?
Yeah, he's 70.
I know Pete Carroll's
He's got
71.
Yeah. He's got 290. Okay.
I'm sorry, no. What was that? 325.
There you go. That's
so
more
he's
like
right there.
It. Yeah.
He's still having fun, still enjoying it.
Yeah, as long as
How would you know?
Yeah, well, because they're winning.
They're winning.
They're winning.
Hey, 24 years ago today, 1998, Carmen Electra married Dennis Rodman. The nation was shocked that they divorced less than 6 months later.
Oh, imagine that.
Stunned.
Really?
Yeah.
Stunned. They were divorced 6 months later. Then they got married in a drunken stupor in Vegas.
I think they did.
Got that going.
And that's today's On This Day report. It's powered every day by 72 Sold, America's leading home selling program. Home sellers, you need 72 Sold more than ever. And they have a solution for today's home seller market. There's no better way to sell your home than 72 Sold. So you're making a mistake if you go anywhere else or you go the traditional way. So check them out. Go to 72sold.com and you will get your price, a higher price at 72sold.com.
Hey guys, we were talking a little bit with Rudy Carpenter about this Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury calling a game and having a quarterback, an experienced quarterback in Colt McCoy with 36 years old, 13 years in the league. He seemed more confident. And you mentioned this, Rock, earlier, 11 straight passes to start the game.
Oh,
pretty much.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did. You said they started
No, you said 11.
Well, they started off.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that fact.
You said they started
Let me ask
off
you this,
flat
before
the running
you go
game.
too far on your thought.
Yeah.
What do you consider an experienced quarterback in the National
I was
Football
just
League?
going to say.
I'd say a guy that's got anywhere from 4, 5, 6 years.
So Kyler's on the cuff.
Yeah.
He's on the cuff.
Okay.
Because he's not a finished product whatsoever, guys. I mean,
No, really?
I mean, he's a long way to
Shocker.
go. But I mean, a guy that's been there and done that. He started games. He's seen multiple offenses. He knows defenses inside and out. A guy that's mature to be able to handle the play calling, to be able to handle getting guys in motion, and to make the reads. And there's nothing I don't think that Colt McCoy has seen by any defense whatsoever that's going to surprise him or he can't prepare for. And when a head coach has a guy that, quite frankly, I think Colt McCoy probably knows defenses better than Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah,
sure
he does.
He does.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think Cliff relies on him on certain situations. When I see them communicate on the sideline, and I know that before the games and before the week, a couple times prior to, it's all right. Hey, what are you comfortable with? What do you think here? What do you think there? I think that Colt adds a lot to that quarterback room, and with Cliff to understand, okay, we're not going to, with that pass rush, we've got to negate that. Here's some things I would like to do as an experienced quarterback to negate that. And coach, we got to get the running game going. Got to get Connor involved, and they did, which really helped that immensely.
So let me ask you, Coach Cliff Kingsbury, here on a Monday.
Yeah.
Are you going to go with Kyler Murray this Sunday or this Monday against?
One of the things I look at, folks, is when you have a professional quarterback in there that does an outstanding job of preparing and making sure that he's not getting distracted by anything that's out there. It could be that guy in the locker room that a lot of guys will follow and lead to, knows offenses and defenses inside and out.
So, Coach, excuse me. I'm sorry, Coach. You're saying, so you're basically saying Kyler Murray's not a leader?
Yes.
No, what I'm basically saying is that Kyler Murray is a leader, but when I talk about leadership, I'm talking about getting there early, staying late, staying away.
So you're saying Kyler's not coming early, he's not staying late?
I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying that.
Did, Coach.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that with Colt McCoy, he's a guy that
and the playing coach
we can rely on week in and week out. Not that we can't rely on Kyler, but I just feel more comfortable right now with Colt McCoy the way he's running this offense.
So is he going to go? Is he going to go Monday night?
I would probably take a good hard look at Colt McCoy leaning that way for right now because our offense has been so much more fluid. We get him in, we get him out. I really like the way our offense runs. And if Kyler Murray is not at least 195% to go, I'm going to probably lean more toward Colt McCoy because I think this offense runs so much better. As you guys all know, he's won 3 out of the 4 last games starting for our team.
You're paying Kyler Murray $250 million, and you're going to put his behind on the bench. Is the owner going to be satisfied
I can say
with
this.
that?
Michael Bidwell trusts me immensely as putting the right guys on the field all the time. We're here to win football games. We're not here to worry about anybody's contract or what everybody's being. We want to put the right, healthy guys on there, the guys that we feel are going to help us win football games. And quite frankly, as coaches and as staff, our whole goal here is to win, to make sure we have the right guy in there at quarterback and understand what's going on there. And quite frankly, we're leaning toward Colt McCoy as starting against San Francisco, Mexico City.
Why are you saying then that the communication factor is better with Colt McCoy than with Kyler Murray?
I really never said it was a communication factor was better. I just like the way we communicate with Colt McCoy and I. He's an experienced veteran. He's been there. He's done that. He's seen a lot more things than Kyler Murray has seen. And I think that's the one thing as far as us bouncing ideas off. You got to remember, Kyler's still a young quarterback.
I said that, Coach. I'm sorry, Coach. One more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mike Morocco, Fox Sports 10.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you showing up.
Why is it that you aren't at that point with Kyler Murray? You drafted him number 1 overall. You've had 3 full years, now 3.5 years to have that relationship. Why don't you have that yet?
That's a very fair question, Mr. Morocco. I appreciate that. I look at this communication. We communicate, but I think when I talk to Colt McCoy, the maturity factor, the experience factor that Colt McCoy has as far as game calling, game playing, certain situations he sees and understands. Kyler Murray's not been down that road yet. So the communication going down this road versus that road is completely two different thoughts of communication. We communicate, we understand, but there may be a few things that Kyler's not quite mature enough to understand from the side of the game, the way the game is
What can
played.
you do to be a better head coach to get him there?
I think that we are doing that right now. We meet daily. We meet weekly. We talk about a lot of the good things. And I think, quite frankly, when I look at all the scenarios with Kyler, it's just that Colt McCoy's been down a different path, understands more, and I can communicate the football side
Coach,
of it.
earlier, my colleague, Jimmy B from Fox Sports 910 said that, the $250 million, that doesn't play into this
No,
at all?
it doesn't. No, we don't care in reference to what guys are making. We just want to know, put the best guys on the field that are going to help us win, because we're at a crossroads here. So if I feel that Colt McCoy's the guy for San Francisco in Mexico City, then when coming home against the Chargers with the bye week, and we feel we have to rest Kyler, he's not 100%, we're going to go with that guy that we feel gives us the best chance to win right now.
Coach, I think you're full of you-know-what, to be honest with you. If Michael Bidwell wants Kyler Murray to go, he's going to go.
Well, if he says that, I'm going to totally stand up against that. I think that's the kind of thing.
But you just signed an extension. You're not going to stand up to the owner.
Well, here's my thing. It's my job that's on the line, not Michael Bidwell's job on the line. And I feel I'm going to put my best guys who I feel need to be out there to win this game.
Do you think with the win yesterday against the Rams, you're no longer on the hot seat?
I think we're always on the hot seat as a head coach of the National Football League.
This is a question to you.
I think me as a head coach, that's just part of the territory. That's just part of what goes on. I think moving forward with this offense, with Colt McCoy is running offense, I feel, whether I'm on the hot seat or not, as far as winning to get us back into the NFC chase is the best way for us to go.
All right, so explain then how the offense then operated better, as in your estimation, with Colt McCoy than it does with Kyler Murray.
He saw the reads quicker. He got the ball out quicker. He checked off. We didn't have as many pre-snap penalties. We got the ball off. We didn't have any communication issues whatsoever. It was just a more fluid game plan that we had that Colt McCoy sees and understands more so than when Kyler's in there. Nothing against Kyler. It's just that Colt's been down that road, and he's seen that. So it's quite frankly, it was one of the better games as far as us getting the plays off, and executing is the key.
Coach, I'm sorry. The fact that
you don't have to be sorry.
Kyler's in his 4th year.
Sure.
It's your job to get him ready.
That's exactly.
And the fact that he's not ready, that falls on you, Coach.
It certainly does. And if he does
it's somewhat of an embarrassment that the ownership has invested all this money into him, and you can't get him ready so he can communicate better with him and see the plays. There's no excuse for that, Coach.
I will definitely take that under advisement. I thank you for that, and I appreciate that. But we are going to get it fixed, and if that's what we got to do with Kyler, that'll definitely be what happens.
Hour number 2 is coming up. We'll look back at this win, biggest upsets in college football, plus Craig Philby from ABC 15. But right out of the gate, we'll give you a quick update on some of the sights and sounds of yesterday, I should say, in the National Football League. fired our board off for what he just said.
Was he serious about that?
He's an ASU guy.
Yeah, he is.
And Eno Benjamin was just let go. And he said he would take Eno Benjamin over James Conner.
Okay, now
Pro Bowler.
We're looking for a board up.
do you have a bottle of glue open near you there, Ben?
What are you drinking today, Benjamin?
You got it there, Ben.
What are the
James Conner
His
is
last name is your first name? What's the
James Conner is making $6 million this year. You can get much more at other positions, and you can get 90% of James Conner out of Eno.
Okay, I totally hardly disagree, Ben. I think
we're
your
watching
Sun
it.
Devil pride.
We're watching a different game.
Yeah, I guess we are. The guy runs hard, catches it, blocks. 2 touchdowns, by the way.
He's always healthy. Always healthy.
Yeah, on the perimeter. Okay, that's enough of your word count for the day because that made no sense whatsoever. Because we don't want anybody to turn us off when they hear that kind of a comment. It didn't come from Roc, Manuch, or Jimmy B or Jags. It came from our board off. Just shut
What's your podcast so they can all watch you on your podcast?
Yeah.
What is that, Ben?
The Daily Desert Podcast.
There you go.
Yeah, all right.
Go check it
The
out.
Daily Desert Doesn't podcast.
See, that's one way to get a plug on the show.
Yeah,
The podcast. Let's get to it. We're going to go around the NFL. Just to let you know, we're going to get into college football in about 15 minutes. Craig Fouie will join us in this hour as well. Frank Sanders still to come, so we'll get into that. But kind of give you a recap of around the National Football League. We start with Detroit taking care of business over Chicago, 31-30. Justin Fields, in a loss, rushed for 142 yards. I love watching this game.
I like watching him play.
Okay, but I think they're relying on him running too much versus running the offense. I get it. Last week he ran for over 140, 3 touchdown passes. But teams will go, okay, good. We'll let you get your yardage and we'll cover your receivers. And lo and behold, what you see with a lot of guys is if their quarterback's rushing a lot, you're not going to see the wins add up.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've seen the last 2 weekends.
First ever regular season game in Germany. Tom Brady goes 22 of 29, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns as this was a good win for Cardinal fans as Seattle fell to them 21-16.
How did you like the crowd singing "Country Roads Take Me Home"?
It was awesome. What was better? What I liked, my biggest takeaway.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
The pitchers of beer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were
pitchers of beer.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, this is
wonder
great.
They were singing "Country
They
Roads."
get it. You know, you don't want to go wait in line at the concession stand. Get yourself a pitcher of beer.
How many ounces were those pitchers? I mean,
they're huge. They looked 32 at the minimum.
Yeah.
You know, one of the best catches of all time, an incredible catch. We're going to play it here as Minnesota took care of Buffalo in overtime, one of the better games of the year. Here is the call, courtesy of Fox.
As we welcome you to Orchard Park with 2 minutes left in a 4-point game. Kirk Cousins back to throw on 4th and 18. He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Climbs the ladder. Oh, my goodness. Justin Jefferson pulled it in. The catch of his life. We got to look back at this.
How does he maintain possession all the way through, not allow that ball to hit the ground?
Incredible. Justin Jefferson, 10 receptions, 193 yards. Arguably the top player in the league. Best catch of the year, especially 4th and 18. You got to give him that. Bills, man, they blew a 27-10 lead. They could not score in the second half. But a big win for Minnesota. And now the conversations, we'll see what happens tonight with Philadelphia and Washington. Who's the best team in the NFC East or NFC?
Yeah. Now can we put the rest? Minnesota is just window dressing. That they're not that good, that they were doing it with smoke and mirrors.
Well, they struggled last week against Washington.
Yeah,
I know, but
and Buffalo gave them the 7 points up against against their own door.
Struggle against Washington.
No, I think they're legit. I don't think that they're world beaters, but I mean, you remember Buffalo, you cannot fumble on the half-yard line.
I know that.
You got to get the snap, Josh. I mean, it drives me nuts how they
don't practice that, right?
Well, they need to practice it more. So they're supposed to, but everybody's shotgun under center. You got to be fundamentally sound because you've got to ride your center. You're up against the half-yard line.
Yep.
You got to ride that center. Make sure you get the snap. That ball never even got up. So when he dropped the ball and that oncoming, I don't know, it seemed like they had 4 or 5 guys over the center, pushed that pocket. Unfortunately, you were hoping he'd just get a safety, not give up 7 points, which got Minnesota back in the game, just like that.
I got to tell you, watching Josh Allen towards the end of that game running over dudes.
Yes.
Just running dudes over. If they won that game, you're almost wrapping up the MVP.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, too, is he made a mistake. Here you got 2nd down and 10. You're in the overtime, and you force the ball on a dig route into the end zone. Patrick Peterson cuts that, makes interception.
Yeah.
You can't. You got to be careful with the ball. Just check it down. Get a couple of get a couple of first downs. Go down and try to score. And I just said that's the one thing. He got a little infatuated with his arm. He's got a phenomenal arm. Tried to cut it loose. Patrick P saw him, stared him down, and got him to cut that for the interception.
Moving on to Tennessee and Denver. This Denver team is just so bad right now. As they lost to the Titans 17-10. Russell Wilson was sacked 6 times. Here he's thrown the pick in the end zone late in the game.
Wilson has been hit 18 times today. 4th and 8. Wilson throws on the run, and it is intercepted.
How about that?
He takes a knee.
Courtesy of CBS. Sorry that we had some bad sound there. But anyway, so 17-10 Tennessee. Kansas City, no trouble with Jacksonville. They improved to 7-2 as Mahomes, once again, just, 4 touchdown passes?
Yeah.
Here's one to Kelsey in the 3rd.
Great red zone offense, this Chief team. We've seen it today. And at the goal line, it's Kelsey with his first touchdown catch since the Vegas game 3 weeks ago when he had 4 in one game.
Moving on, is it safe to put Tua in the
We're going to put him in the Hall of Fame?
in the MVP conversation? I mean, he had a hell of a game, and here he is throwing a touchdown to Tyreek Hill in the 3rd, courtesy of CBS.
They like to move around quite a bit.
Tua under pressure, throwing, touchdown, Tyreek Hill.
7-3 now for the Dolphins, but it's not all him. An incredible rushing attack. These guys are running the hell out of the ball.
They are, and, of course, you have to remember who he has as wide receivers as well. And from that standpoint, who's in first place now in the AFC East? It's the Miami Dolphins.
Right, and I got to tell you what, this could be a 3-horse race if the Jets can keep on track. Miami's right there. The Bills seem to have a little struggling going on with some of the things. I think the last 2 or 3 weeks in that AFC East will come down. I would think the Bills will get their act together and start to play like they did early in the season.
Speaking of rushing attack, we take you to the Giants and Houston as the Giants won 24-16 as Barkley rushed for 172 yards as here he is rushing for one of the touchdowns late in that game.
2nd and goal for the Giants. Give it. Barkley slams it in there for the touchdown.
Texans fall to 1-7-1. Pittsburgh took care of New Orleans 20-10. Flip side of rushing attack. Saints, listen to this, rushed for 29 yards on 15 attempts. That ain't going to do it. The Colts and the Las Vegas Raiders. Jeff Saturday wins his coaching debut. Colts racked up 415 yards of offense, but the story was what happened after with Derek Carr and this emotional response in the presser as the Raiders now fall to 2-7.
I love Josh. I love our coaches.
I potted you down. If you want me to shut it off early, just let me know.
Way more success than I've ever had, and, I'm sorry. Sorry for being emotional.
3.
I'm just pissed off about some of the things, that a lot of us try and do just to practice. What we put our bodies through just to sleep at night. And for that to be the result of all that effort pisses me off. Pisses a lot of guys off. It's hard knowing what some guys are doing. Like I said, just to practice what they're putting in their body just to sleep at night. Like just so we can be there for each other. And I wish everybody
Guys are hot.
felt the same way about this place.
It's Derek Carr after the
And
game.
as a leader, that pisses me off.
That's Derek Carr after another loss for Vegas. I think the best thing for him is to get out of Vegas. He needs a new scenery. He needs a new change.
And it might be, Rock.
And there are a lot of teams like Carolina. There are a few teams. he's a middle of the road, right? He's like, I don't know where he ranks, probably 15th, 16th, and when you look at all passers, but I think maybe it's just time for him to get out of there.
He just needs a change of venue.
He really does.
That's it.
Hey, on the flip side, here's Coach Saturday on his emotions for the coaching debut.
Talked to my son and my wife, and then had a lot of texts of just encouragement, prayer, thoughts, all those things. And I was so grateful for all the boys sending, text chains and, go get it. And Edge sent me a text and he's I'm here. And it was just, it was magical in all honesty. In truth, I felt very at peace. I felt like we had a really good plan in place. I felt like all the men who I had talked about empowering and giving them the ability to do what they can do exceptionally well, they all stepped up. And so I knew what my role was, and I was going to execute my role to the best of my ability, and I was going to allow all of those men to do the same. And they stepped up, man, and it's an incredible day. And again, it's one win, but heck, man, they're hard to get in this NFL. So just really proud of each and every one of them in their effort.
Well, on the pregame show, former Pittsburgh Steelers coach and Super Bowl winner.
I could play it. We were going to play
Coward,
it. We could play it later.
Okay. Just trashed him.
I don't know. He just said it was a disgrace.
He said it was a disgrace.
I don't think he trashed him.
I think
disgrace is a pretty strong word, Rob.
Yeah,
but he was coming from a head coach just saying
I get that.
What happened is a disgrace to the coaching profession.
I get that.
I don't think he specifically
not Jeff Saturday, but the move of putting him in as head coach. Never been a coach on any level in the NFL or even in college.
Okay. But it was interesting that he did point out in that little, whatever you call it,
vignette.
He did talk about Jeff Saturday being a consultant every week with the Colts and has been involved in the organization.
And he hasn't been completely out of tune with what's going on. Here's the key, guys. He put Matt Ryan back as the starting quarterback first and foremost, which got him his 21 of 28. He had common sense. I don't know what the hell Frank Reich was thinking to put him down to third string and play the young guys. He put him back as his veteran starting quarterback.
Hey, real quick, Green Bay over Dallas. We'll get into that a little bit later as Christian Watson, 3 touchdowns. Cardinals' next opponent is the 49ers. They won, led by Jimmy G, making some big plays, 22-16 over the Chargers. And for the second consecutive week, the 49ers have failed to score in the second half. Quite interesting, to say the least, I think, when you hear that. So coming up, we will bring you some college football news from this past weekend. Arizona State. How about Oregon losing? But the Pac-12 just ruined their chances for the CFP, I believe, with both UCLA going down. How about that? And I said this last week to you, Manuch, on Friday. I said Arizona tends to win one game a year that they're not supposed to, and they did it. So we'll get into that, as well as Alabama escaping Ole Miss, as we talk some college football next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Fox Sports 9. praises last week for the Pac-12.
We were.
Yeah.
But this past week was a bad week for the Pac-12 as the college football window is starting to close. It opened for the Pac-12 last week. Mm-hmm. Clemson went down, Alabama, Tennessee lost, and there you had it. You had a Pac-12 leader in Oregon, and you had 12th ranked UCLA. But what did they do this week? They both lost. They both lost to Washington and Arizona, respectively, and now it only leaves the Trojans, who will have to beat UCLA in Pasadena this Saturday, and then get past Notre Dame the following Saturday. So, and then we'll see what happens on the championship game, but not good. And there was a chance there that you could see, maybe a somewhat of a chance. I don't know if I'm going to see if USC is going to be there, because if I'm not mistaken, their top running back is now out too.
He is. He got hurt.
Yeah, and their defense is suspect as well too, guys. So when you play a good, solid team that can score, and they can score points. That's not the problem. It's stopping the opponent, and pretty much now with them having, you look at them blowing out the doors of Colorado. Everybody does that, but now it's up to USC to carry the mantle and go all the way through, and hopefully somebody else is going to lose. We see that. And they can sneak in the back door and get to the playoff.
USC's only loss is at Utah, and they lost by 3, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they were in that game the whole way, and Utah found a way to win it at the end. The problem is that Rock just referenced it's USC UCLA this coming weekend. You needed UCLA to only have one loss as well to make that a quality matchup, and the winner then would still have a chance. Now, with UCLA getting beat, even if USC wins that game, they are still in jeopardy of not getting into the college football
and it depends where Utah ends up as well, too. They're 13. They've got the 2 losses, but again, USC's got to win the Pac-12 championship, and hope for some help in somebody in the top 4, top 5. Top 6.
They have no bad conference losses. That's the key. That win over USC for Utah. So the loss for UCLA snapped an 8-game winning streak over Arizona. So congrats to the Cats.
Yes.
I believe they got their quarterback with Delora.
Oh, my goodness.
He finished 22 of 28, 315 yards. I mean, they were up 21-14 at half. And I just think, he's a transfer from Washington State. Seems like every quarterback in the Pac-12 is a transfer.
and guess, he's got Gunnar Cruz from Washington State and Delora. And guess who they play this week? They've got Washington State. But I really believe it's the running game, guys. They finally found their running game. You look at Wiley, 97 yards. They rushed for, close to 130 yards. What you saw balance, and you saw time of possession go to U of A. You went, wow. Running game, third down conversions, time of possession, to keep UCLA, off the field from that particular standpoint. So 34 minutes to 25 minutes. Dang, you're 10 more minutes.
But he's got some wheels too.
He
was running for his life, but he's scrambling for first downs. He's throwing for first downs. So good for Cats. They've been waiting for a quarterback for a long time. Arizona State, I think a lot of us thought they found their quarterback with Trenton Bourguet. However, he got hurt in the first half of that game over the weekend against Washington State. They were down 28-0 at half.
Right.
Emory Jones came in that first half. Who had started the first 7 games of the season. But Washington State, they had 291 yards of total offense in the game at the half, while ASU had 61. The biggest part of the game for Arizona State was they were just 3 for 14 on third down.
Exactly.
Could not turn anything around. So they needed to win to be bowl eligible. That's not going to happen. Washington State became bowl eligible with the win. They're now 6-4. And as you said, you have Arizona this week.
Yeah, it was a long first half for Bourguet, only 3 for 10. They couldn't get the first downs. He had the one interception. It was just they ran into a buzzsaw. ASU ran into a defense, pretty solid defense. Cameron Ward, the kid that transferred from Incarnate Word out of San Antonio, had a really good game. Not spectacular numbers, but again, it was a matter of jumping on ASU early, and ASU got a couple scores there at the end to make it somewhat close. But you win this football game, and you set yourself up. Your Washington State, they're also in that road of trying to improve themselves. And you look at their record at 6-4, 3-4 in the conference. If they can beat U of A and win out, and they got Washington coming up in a couple weeks as well too.
Manuch, you got to explain to me how you get top-notch kids to go to Pullman, Washington. Okay? It's in the middle of the Palouse. There's nothing there but wheat fields, and then the school all of a sudden appears.
There's a lot of cougars.
Yeah. Yeah. They roam the hills immensely in that area. You know what? Say that we're going to have Ryan Leaf, former quarterback.
Yep, I'm going to ask.
He's going to join us tomorrow at 2:30, talk about what's going on in Pullman and what's going on in the Pac-12, specifically now with the SEC. So we'll save that for Ryan Leaf tomorrow.
Saturday slate of Week 11 games overall outside of the Pac-12. You saw number 9 Alabama escaping a win over Ole Miss. They've now beaten them 7 straight times. They beat them 30-24. Game started really slow. There was no scoring for the first 13 minutes, and then the second half was kind of back and forth. So it was kind of a fun game to watch at that point. Other than that, TCU they handled number 18 Texas. They beat them in a slugfest, defensive slugfest, 17-10. And the score in that one was another very boring first half. TCU was up 3-0 in that one, but they had 2 big plays in that second half, which really made a difference. And that win clinched a berth for a Big 12 championship game.
So I'm listening to Take the Point Saturday, right? And the guys are having the conversation about TCU being undefeated and number 4 in the country. Yet they're a dog by 7.
Yeah.
By 7 in that game.
That was my dog on Thursday, Jimmy.
Yeah, well,
I picked him outright. Got the win. Game, set, match. Where you at?
Got one
Jimmy?
right, Manuch. Congrats.
Every once in a while,
I had North
squirrel
Carolina, and North Carolina won outright at Wake.
How about LSU? It was a close one, man. They almost lost to Arkansas. They improved to 8-2.
Yeah.
That was only a 13-10 low-scoring game in that one. UCF beat number 17 Tulane. UCF was 22nd in an AAC battle. UCF built a big lead, 24-7 in the first half. They ultimately won 38-31. Boston College shocked NC State.
They did.
They were ranked 16th. They knocked them off 21-20 thanks to a game-winning touchdown pass. Purdue upset number 21 Illinois as the Big Ten West, man. It's wild, man. All kinds of stuff going on in that one. As that kind of scrambled it all up because the Big Ten West now has 4 teams at Purdue, Illinois, Iowa, and Minnesota all have 3 conference losses. Another upset over the weekend was Vanderbilt over Kentucky.
Yes.
Vanderbilt And now we'll turn our attention to this week. It's going to keep getting better. Sadly, we're already here towards the middle of November, meaning we got 2 more weeks of football, regular season football. Then we get into the championships, and then we go into bowls. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't get into the bowls as much as they used to, maybe because there's so many. But I still love them.
I still like them.
I love them.
Yeah.
I absolutely love them.
That's why I think it was so important for ASU to win that game at Washington State to be bowl eligible.
There you go.
And several teams be bowl eligible. And if anything, if you don't get a chance to play in a conference championship as a player to go to a bowl game period, you love that. You get more practices. You get a chance to show your wares even more so. On top of that, just fun to go somewhere in the holidays. By the way, your Tennessee game, I think Tennessee only put 700 yards of total offense on Missouri. I think they just scored again about a half hour ago.
What was your learner in a row on Friday? I was giving you some heat about 800 yards.
Oh, yeah. Over under for Washington State to shoot have 800 yards.
I go 800 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe set it at 600.
Well,
800?
I mean, well, you got to think of, Cameron, a couple weeks before, Washington State put 400 yards of total offense, told me 400 yards of passing. And Trent Bourguet had 426 yards of passing last week. So, I don't know. It's just, they combined for 450 this last week.
I mean, everybody took the under, but it was just anyway.
Yeah, everyone's saying
it's our 22nd year of hosting Monday Night Football here at Casino Arizona in the CAZ Sports Bar, which is now a sports book. You got to check it out. It's really cool as we give away cash just for watching football. We have our kickoff jackpot, which will start at $2,200. We got squares, props, all free, and we do halftime throw for dough. So we'd love to have you out there. Come on out and join us for some football tonight, Washington and Philly as Philly hopes to get to 9-0. But hey, Washington, they've been playing teams well. Last week they had a tight one against the Minnesota Vikings. So we'll hope for another good game tonight. Craig Fooey's going to join us next for Fact or Fooey, as we always do. And then a little bit later, the professional power slapping is coming to cable TV.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh,
Power slapping?
Yes.
Gosh.
Professional power slapping.
So, Jimmy, I can do it in a professional way now.
Oh,
Yes.
Absolutely in a professional way.
We'll continue. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Fox Sports 910.
This is what's Fooey.
Craig Fooey, Rock along with Manuch and Jimmy B. How you doing today?
What's up, Coach?
I'm doing well, guys. It's another busy Monday, coming off a busy weekend. So, yeah, here we go.
Cardinals going to the playoffs now with that big win yesterday?
Likely. Yeah, more than likely.
More than likely. I like that.
So, be honest, Coach.
Here we go.
Did you get over there a little moonlighting with the offensive line? Be honest with us now, because all those banged-up guys.
Give them a game ball, man.
Yeah.
They did well.
No, there's only one team that's worse in the NFC West, and that's the LA Rams. So keep in mind they're playing John Wolford and the Rams, a banged-up Rams team. So I'm not overly elated.
I will tell you, John Wolford's got to be the worst quarterback I've ever seen play.
I was stunned. I thought
he was going to be better than that.
I
He was
thought
horrible.
He was
throwing people.
Yeah.
I mean, way over people. He wasn't even. He couldn't even. What's the line you say, Manuch, when you throw in the water?
He couldn't hit the water from the boat.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, he was throwing so many sailors, I was going to take him down to the recruiting office of the Navy and sign him up.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's
look at you.
You like that?
Right,
keep that to yourself.
You never should have opened the door.
Oh, I like that one.
Use that to you with your mother-in-law. All right, let's get to it. Factor Food with ABC 15's Craig Bowie. All right, question number 1. Cliff Kingsbury needs to play Colt McCoy for the next 2 games until the bye.
And rest Kyler Murray.
Factor Food.
Oh, my God. I love overreaction Mondays.
Yes.
Fact, man.
I love it.
That's right. It's a fact.
Well, here's the deal. What we don't know is the extent of Kyler's injury. We might find out on Hard Knocks on Wednesday because we found out about the injury last Wednesday night on Hard Knocks. So maybe we'll find out the extent of it, the severity. But listen, if Kyler's hurt, then yes, you play Colt McCoy. If Kyler's healthy, you have to play your starter. I mean, it's just that simple. So I don't know if that's a factor of Fooey. Maybe it's a Fooey because I'm disagreeing with the statement that you have to play Colt McCoy for the next 2 games until the bye.
Which leads me to question number 2. It is proven the Cardinals offense operates in a more productive and operates more effectively with Colt McCoy as the quarterback since they've won 3 out of the last 4 games. He has started as the Arizona Cardinals quarterback. Fact or Fooey?
He's laughing at us.
Oh, my gosh. Fooey on that. Stop with this overreaction Monday stuff. My God, Colt McCoy is now a starter. 13 years as a backup in the NFL. Now he's a starter because he's better than Kyler Murray. Stop. Just stop.
How many games have they won with Colt McCoy? 3 out of the last 4.
Just stop.
I'm just saying.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
I'm just more fluidity with the offense, read, react, completions.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, he reads defenses better. He sits in the pocket better. He's so much better than Kyler Murray.
I'm breaking it down,
keep
Coach.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. He's from Texas, though. He's got that going for him.
That's the key. Now you're feeling me, Coach. Now you're feeling me. See? Now, so is that a factor of Fooey?
That's a Fooey. Just stop. Stop it. Listen, he's a 13-year veteran. He's savvy. He was playing the Rams. I mean, it was just, the Cardinals couldn't have been more beat up, and they still beat up on the Rams. So that tells you something about where Sean McVay, the superstar Sean McVay, is this year.
All right, let me run this one by you because it is a follow-up on what you were just discussing. Remember, Manuch writes the questions.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
James Conner's 69 yards rushing and the quick passing game were the keys for the offense to be productive. Fact or Fooey?
That is the offense. That's what they did. That's an easy fact.
About damn time, Coach. Jeez, on Friday.
Well, when you have DeAndre Hopkins with 10 catches for 98 yards, Rondo Moore, 9 catches for 94 yards. All those were pretty short passes, most of them. James Conner, 21 carries, 69 yards. It's not a great average, just a little over 3 yards a carry, but it's enough, right? But that was the key. They went in there, and I think the first 11 plays were passes, something like that.
No.
So, you went in there with a game plan that actually worked against a Rams defense that obviously they struggled with last year out at SoFi Stadium in the playoffs, right? They got just demoralized by that defensive line of the Rams. And here the Cardinals come in, they had 1 starter out of 5-star offensive linemen. It was all backups and 13 guys. So, they had a game plan that worked. And I'm glad that they came in with that plan and decided, you know what, there's going to be something open. We can't run early on this team, but we'll come in and throw the ball, loosen them up a little bit. And that's what they did. It worked.
He's ABC 15's Craig Fooey. All right, number 4, this is a no-brainer. Buda Baker is truly the heart and soul of this Cardinals defense on and off the field. Fact or Fooey?
These are so hard.
Yeah.
God, these questions are tough today. Fact.
Wow.
I don't know about the validity of the high ankle sprain from last week, though. I'm not sure of that one. Because nobody comes back and plays an entire game and then comes back and plays the next week on a high ankle sprain. But, yeah, Buda Baker's awesome. We've loved him since he's been here. He's obviously worth every penny they pay him. He just hustles, and the guys respect the heck out of him. So, yeah, that's an easy fact.
All right, Coach, last question here. With the Coyotes winning 3 of their last 5 games, are proving to be ahead of schedule in their development stage as an organization. Organization. Factor Fooey. Come on, man. 3 out of 5.
Is this coming off the fact that the Tempe City Council is going to put that arena up to a vote in May? Oh, my God. Could you have punted even any harder or longer than that? The Tempe City Council
Privately financed,
this decision
Coach.
on our shoulders.
Privately financed, though. Privately financed.
Yeah, sure it is. Read the fine print, buddy. Probably, privately financed. No, they couldn't have punted any longer or harder than that one. Let's put it up to the people. I don't want to make this choice. Listen, the Coyotes are playing they're playing team hockey, right? Mm-hmm. There's no real superstars right now on that roster. They're just playing together as a team. They know that the world's against them. It's like, go back to 2012 when they were owned by the NHL. The world was against them. They didn't have a place to play. There's no superstars. Guys wanted out in the offseason because they didn't want to be part of the rebuild. And now they're on the road for 14 straight games. They're not back till December. I mean, this is us against the world, and that's the way they're playing. And I don't know if it's ahead of schedule in terms of development, but they're just playing like you should as a group of guys. It's us against the world.
Billy, it was reported by ESPN that the Cardinals have told Benjamin that they're releasing him today.
Surprise.
Here he is just a couple weeks after being the starter and a little bit of a good run there. He played one offensive snap past yesterday. What do you think's going on here? You think there's more to this?
Yeah, I think maybe it's the crackback block in Minnesota, right? When Connor had that big run and he got the crackback block, maybe you're really still mad about that.
Oh,
and then Zach Ertz hurt, and he's out for the season. And I mean, it's just, but I was surprised because all we'd heard all year long from Cliff is how great Eno was doing in his third season. And then you get to this point and it's like Keontae Ingram was playing yesterday, James Conner. I think had about 2 or 3 snaps on special teams maybe. But then suddenly he's gone, and it's like, wow, that's an interesting move. So maybe that's the only thing I can think of is the crackback block a couple of weeks ago in Minnesota. It's 3 weeks now, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, about 3 weeks.
So that's the only thing I can think of. It's like, man, they made a mistake, but there's a lot of guys making mistakes on this team.
Yes.
So the number one pick is the Ingram kid, who was a 6th-round pick, right? I mean, he's number 2.
Well,
Connor.
And then they're trying to trade Williams at the
he's
trade
on the
deadline.
IR.
He's on the IR. So, you look at that and you go, okay, if Connor goes down and Williams goes down, you're on the waiver wire again, Coach? Or you bring Eno back, or what the hell?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that they bring Eno back on the practice squad, because they've done that before with different guys. And so it wouldn't surprise me if he comes back and he shows up in a couple, 3 days on the practice squad. Not surprising.
It's got to be something.
It just came out. I just got the release while we're speaking.
Okay.
Arizona Cardinals have released running back Eno Benjamin.
Yep.
There it is. Just came down.
What do we need Adam Schefter for?
Absolutely. There's
All right, I know. It's right here. It's right here. Just about 40 minutes later. Here it is.
So you're saying Colt McCoy's got a chance at starting against the San Francisco 49ers in Mexico City?
Listen, I think it comes down to, Colt got banged up too. Keep that in mind, right?
Yes,
he limped off and went into the 10th. And so it's like, is he healthy? Is he going to be okay to go? Is he at 80%, 90%, or is Kyler at 70 or 80? I mean, those are all decisions that have to be made this week about who's your best option at quarterback on Monday night.
Hey, I want to get your thoughts. Have you heard anything new on Chris Paul? He's missed 2 games. He's listed for questionable for tonight against the Heat. Any idea what's going on there?
I have not heard anything from the team yet or anybody inside, but my guess is just err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
Right. He's 37 now. Is that right? 36, 37. And so, it's early in the season. We're not rushing to the finish line of the playoffs right now. So let's just take it easy and get him back healthy.
Yeah. And
that thing could linger. That could linger.
Shamit's out again tonight.
Yep.
Concussion protocol.
Yeah. How about that one? Concussion stuff.
Yeah. In basketball, you don't hear that too often.
You just get a forearm across the back of the head, little rattle his cage a little bit.
Hey, not a single question about the Arizona Wildcats going over to Pasadena and beating the 12th-ranked UCLA Bruins.
I'm going to interrupt you there and say, what do you think about this U of A upset over Coach Kelly et al. Over there? I mean, is Judd Fish, Factor Fui, now taking the lead as far as recruiting over ASU? Yeah. In fact, talk about being ahead of schedule in development. I mean, to go over there, and I know that for UCLA it was kind of a trap game because they got USC this coming weekend. So I know it was kind of a trap game for them. But man, they played great all the way through that game. Defense showed up. It was like, wow, where's this defense been? It looks like USC coaches the lone soldier if they got to win out to have a chance of making that playoff run right now. Yeah, it might be. I mean, Utah's still right there. Oregon getting beat on a 4th and 1 at their own 34 with a score tied at 34. I mean, what is going on with Dan Lanning? Jiminy Christmas. There's so much stuff going on this weekend. It was fun. It was a fun weekend.
Bowie, as always, thanks for making us part of your day.
Guys, you make my day. Thanks so much.
That's Greg Bowie, ABC 15. Check him out. Appreciate his time as he joins us every Monday and has for over 15 years for Fact or Fooey. Good stuff there. Well, professional power slapping is now a cable TV sport. We're going to get into that. Plus,
get away from me, Manuch.
This is pretty cool.
Practice on you.
As Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield have partnered up to create and deliver Holy Ears. Yes. Marijuana edibles.
That makes sense.
Tell you about that next. As we're live from the CAZ Sports Bar for tonight's Commanders-Eagles Monday night game. It's Fox Sports 910.
As you
For 80 years. Check out valleychevy.com. Well, I thought this was interesting for those of you who are always down for some more sports on television. I bring you slapping. No, not just slapping, just slapping. Power slapping.
Power slapping.
Define that for us, Rock.
Yeah.
Well, Dana White, UFC boss.
Yes.
Is bringing a new league. It's his new league called the Power Slap League to TBS beginning in January. Yes. Two people stand. You've never seen this, guys?
No.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, Jax, you've seen it.
I've never seen power slapping.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised Jimmy, who's a Twitter. He's on Twitter more than anybody I know.
Mogul.
He's so into it. I'm like, hey, have you seen this on Twitter?
Yeah,
I'm like,
I know,
no, I don't watch. I'm not on Twitter every minute like Jimmy is. But it's on there a lot. Two people stand toe-to-toe and take turns slapping the bejesus out of each other.
Open hand.
Open hand.
So
they keep doing it until someone gets knocked out. Or if that doesn't happen, there's a point system after a certain number of rounds. So scoring is based on the striker's effectiveness,
Okay.
along with the defender's reaction and recovery time to the slap.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I don't. Have we gone? It's MMA.
So you knock your opponent out, or you win points. Is basically how it works when you're slapping.
So you can win a decision, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So how many slaps do you get?
I don't know that.
Okay.
It could be one if you knock the person.
Well, if you knock them out, it's like boxing.
but
there's rounds.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Oh,
It's like you get up there and you guys really haven't seen that?
No,
I haven't
Rock.
seen
I
that.
swear to God,
It's on. You don't need to swear.
Let-
It's literally on Twitter all the time.
I mean, the last time I saw a power slap was my cousin Vinny when Marissa Tomei told him to snap out of it, and he slapped him.
Another random fact: the IRS requires you to pay taxes on money you get illegally. So, in other words, if you rob a bank or you sell drugs or you commit a credit card fraud or anything like that, and you get caught, you get audited if you haven't paid up. So, like Jackson just won $100 betting.
Yeah.
So you better declare it. Declare that. Even though you need to declare after 600.
Okay, yeah, that's not such a a minuscule amount with that type of thing.
Hey, for a third straight week, Lee Corso was off ESPN College Game Day.
Right.
And they said he's got a unique health issue right now, is what Reese Davis had said. If you saw it, I was like, oh man, he's 87 years old, and he's a big part of that show.
Sure he is.
And I think Jackson and I were talking about it. If he's done, will they still do
the head?
The head,
How do you replace that since he was the icon of the head?
I don't think you do. I think you retire it.
I think you're right, and you come up with something different for Pat McAfee.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's good. He does a good job.
Yep.
Pat's outstanding.
He does a good job.
He is the flavor of the year.
Yeah,
or
he
the
is.
month or whatever. Everybody loves him. He's killing it. Yeah. His podcast and his radio, his TV does well. He's got Aaron Rodgers every week, and you know how great that is.
Well, he's outside the box for game day. I think his thought process and a lot of things he brings.
Kids love him.
Yeah, the kids love him.
Younger demographic.
Yeah,
with him.
maybe just to that point of you just bring something else back, retire the head thing. Maybe he has a prediction of how he's going to do that.
So Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield have teamed up for Holy Ears. It's a THC, Delta H THC infused edibles shaped like bitten ears. Just came out today, and it's part of Tyson's 2.0 cannabis company. Supposedly, Tyson, according to this report, said it was his wife's idea.
Wow.
To come up with it. Holy Ears.
Holy Ears.
I think that's awesome.
Now, I was at the first Holyfield-Tyson fight. I was not there for the vampire bite. I missed that one. But
so the first week, could you tell he actually bit his ear at the time? Because he had a mouth guard in his mouth.
No, he spit the mouth guard out.
And then to bite it.
Yes, to bite his ear.
So I was like, that was incredible. But could you tell immediately when it happened you were there that he was?
No. I was not there for that.
Oh,
one.
okay.
I was there for the first one. So it's one of those things where you're just shocked. Did I just see that? Like you couldn't comprehend.
Did he just do what I thought I saw him do? That's probably your thought process.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much it. And what happened was Holyfield was in control of the fight and rocked him, and they clinched. And when they clinched, Tyson just leaned over and chomped on his ear, and then spit it out.
Well, he was frustrated and he couldn't do anything, so a referee shut that down.
Oh, right away.
Hey, our daily digit today. I thought this is amazing. If you think about it, we're right around the corner for World Cup, but as of right now, 2.89 million tickets have been sold for the upcoming World Cup. 2.8
popularity of soccer, they're alive and well, and the U.S. being right there.
Worldwide, it is. It's still a secondary national sport here in the United States.
Oh, shoot.
It doesn't rally toward football or basketball or baseball. Oh, my hero, intern Barney, just arrived with treats.
Why is he here? He hasn't been here yet this year.
He was here last week.
Oh, he was?
Yes, he did show up last week.
Someone, please, is he here this week?
Yeah, he is, Rock. I hate to tell you. Intern Barney.
He's going to talk my ear off. And I was real quiet. I've been traveling. I just got back from his state. Yeah. And I just wanted some peace and quiet to watch my football team today.
He's my hero.
Here's the thing, Rock. You start to tune him out.
Jax, you're going to talk to him. because I'm not. I got to work today while I'm working.
Well,
So
Rock,
I
him
am
being
not
here last
doing that.
week, it's after a while, you just kind of, he's like white noise. You tune him out.
He used to get paid. He don't
Yeah,
get paid anymore.
yeah.
He just gets a free.
But
meal.
he brought the cheese
He
for us.
gets money. He gets a meal now. That's all he gets. I don't pay him anymore.
And his Dolphins lucked out and won again
He
yesterday.
brings cheese. which
But
is good.
UCLA got beat by U of A. How about that? So UCLA loses, his Dolphins win.
Yep.
He brings the cheese. Yeah, Rock, you just tune him out after the first half hour. You don't hear it. It's like white noise.
Just as long as he doesn't cut the cheese, we're okay.
So I think it's today, 1968, the Heidi game, in which most of the viewers of the Raiders Jets game missed the end of it
That
because
is
of the
correct.
movie.
Yep.
And you guys are watching.
I remember that.
I
But
bet you do.
yes, but we left with about 20 minutes ago when the Raiders were up. We went to Sunday Night Mass, which is at 5. That game was like midway through the fourth quarter. To leave, I was pissed. I go, we got to go to church. I'm like, why?
This game.
Because Namath was bringing them back.
Yep.
You're pissed. You're like 4.
No, I was in 6th grade.
That's right.
I was in 6th grade. Yeah, I'm in
I
the
was
football.
like 4.
Joe Namath's playing. Daryl LaMonica's playing.
Heidi game's actually 17th, Sunday the 14th.
Okay,
So
well, it was on a Sunday when it happened. I remember that.
Do you know the backstory on that? On why the Heidi movie came up at that time?
Well, they broke away because of the East Coast coverage of it, and the Jets had just taken a lead.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And there was about a minute
Minute-
something like
Yes.
minute 5.
Yep.
They cut the commercial. Then they come back
With
to it,
Heidi.
and then the
Bang.
Raiders scored a couple
And-
touchdowns.
Yes, and end up winning. The backstory is that at that time, you got to remember,
It's the only game on, right?
that and the NFL wasn't that big a deal.
Well,
It wasn't that big a
and
deal.
prime time
So-
Sunday nights
Yes,
was Heidi was being promoted.
But I
it
also
was.
thought, but back I don't remember because I was born in '68. Was the games were 2.5 hours back then? This
Roughly.
game was going long. It was going
Yes, it was.
3.
Correct.
So it was already programmed,
'Cause-
right?
Yes, and so
a lot of passing in this
operators-
game.
Yes, the operators
Joe Namath.
in there
Daryl
were
LaMonica.
told that you will indeed start Heidi at 8:00 that night.
It was
And
7 Eastern.
And
yeah.
and
that's-
that's what they did.
And that's what all the people that had that called into the switchboard in those days.
Yes.
That's when they figured they would extend the games, start that, and then the programming would proceed after that.
That is correct.
That was the precursor to extending games if they went long in prime
That
time.
is right.
Final score 43-32.
Unbelievable.
So what we'll do on Wednesday or Thursday?
It's Thursday.
Thursday.
Mhm.
We'll go back and we'll pull that. We'll
That'd
play.
be-
it.
oh
Okay.
man, Joe Willie and
Was Heidi a
Daryl
good
LaMonica.
movie?
It was like the Sound of Music kind of thing,
Yeah.
along those same. Sound of Music was big, but that was it. People were pissed. How they got the number to call to New York?
Oh man,
What are you doing? This
People
game's
just
getting
went-
good.
they just went berserk.
It was at the old Oakland Alameda Coliseum, Oakland Coliseum. In that game, was played there in Oakland. They came back and won that.
Wow.
1.
That's something. Is it 3 or is it 1 anyway?
1.
So there you have some major random facts of the day there, brought to you by the Valley Chevy Dealers, your Valley Chevy dealer serving the Valley for over 80 years. Yes, for a dealership near you, go to valleychevy.com. Coming up in the next hour, we'll catch up with former Sun Devil, Dallas Cowboy quarterback Rudy Carpenter. Frank Sanders, former Cardinal, will also stop by for his take on the win over the Rams. We'll dive into that next as we're coming to you live from the CAZ Sports Bar. Intern Barney, bringing some goodies.
Brought the cheese. He's always cheesing it with us. Making it happen. Where is Dolphins at? So they mix in a win once in a while. Yeah, we'll see how that AFC.
I love people
East
come
gets
out
up.
of. I love people just come out of the bandwagon.
10.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know he was a Dolphins fan.
Nobody's known.
I know. It's amazing. Cheese is good though. Thank you, Barney. 3 o'clock, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Out here in Casino, Arizona for tonight's Commanders-Eagles Monday night game. As Eagles come into this game 8-0. 8-0. They're hosting from the link. And the Commanders had a 3-game winning streak snapped as they lost to the Vikings, a close one. They're 4-5 right now. And should be a good one. I'm biased, of course, as many people know that I'm a Philly guy from there. Follow the Eagles quite a bit. I'm just big Jalen Hurts fan. I was last year when a lot of people weren't. I really think this guy is a hell of a player, and he takes over the game, and you're confident. And the Eagles have had some pretty good quarterbacks over the years.
Yes, they have.
And I wish Kyler had a little bit more Jalen Hurts in him. When it comes to, you feel as a fan, I don't play like you, Manuch, as you feel like he's got a command of the offense.
Yes.
You don't feel you don't have a pit in your stomach. Like with Kyler, you got a pit in your stomach because you don't know what he's going to do. He's going to either run, maybe he's going to throw, or if he doesn't find that first read that he had in the playbook, he's lost.
But that's what makes him interesting.
Yes.
Well, that's not always a good thing, Jimmy.
I know that,
yeah.
but that's what makes him
Rock, I think where you say he's got a calm about him. He's got control. I watch him this year. I go, wow, this kid's he's poised. He doesn't get too high or get too low. He's very even keel. And I think with Kyler, we see moodiness sometime on the sideline. You see Jalen Hurts go off the sideline. He's cool, calm, collected. Now, he has had a couple words with his head coach a couple times, but it's been no big deal. But you're right, Rock. He's really matured, I think, much faster when you see a lot of guys come through as far as throwing the ball. Now when you watch him play, he'll make a play when he has to. He doesn't just take off for the sake of taking off. He runs this offense so effectively, and his arms talent's always been there, and with his arm. And I think from having a good group of receivers, having a good running game, but the defense, that's been the key for the Eagles, is their defense is stout defense. He's not having to chase points. He doesn't have to score 35, 40 points a game like some of these other guys out there these young quarterbacks that have to chase points, which makes it extremely difficult.
You know better than anybody. It's not uncommon for quarterbacks to work privately, with other coaches right in the offseason. I'm not sure what Kyler has been doing, but Jalen Hurts, that was his thing in the offseason. I mean, he's working out with coaches. He comes to work with a briefcase. I mean, he treats this thing as a business, and I think it's starting to pay off. I think it's clearly paying off because he had a private coach in Southern California, and I think that's been the difference. And I know Kyler, I'm sure, has a coach. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't.
He worked out with Hollywood Brown in the offseason.
But is there a specific coach? Like to Manuch, you coach these quarterbacks all the time.
I would love to work with Kyler Murray on just his mechanics alone and just understanding the game. Who he worked with, he was Jordan Palmer and Tom House, who I think Jalen Hurts worked out with.
Yep.
And what they did as far as just mechanics and just understanding how to make this throw and that throw, but using his body. And I think when I watch Jalen Hurts making the throws, he doesn't get sidearm. There's only one guy in the National Football League history that makes the throws he does. That's Patrick Mahomes. That's a gift. That's a talent. But, Rock, I read the article as well, too, how dialed in he was to go out to California and just admit, I need some help. And with Tom House, who's worked with a lot of pitchers and a lot of quarterbacks, and they also work with the film study with his new head coach as well, too, to pretty much understand, okay, let me see where I can improve here. And he wanted to come in and take his game to another level because he knew he needed to. And a lot of these guys, when you talk to other quarterbacks, they get away with a lot of stuff. You're not going to get away with it on a consistent basis in the National Football League. You might here and there, but if you're not sound fundamentally, if you are, you're great. That's fine. But you got to worry about X's and O's and know where to go here, know where to go there. And that's what Jalen Hurts did. And I commend him for that.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Jordan Palmers and the Tom Houses also worked with the Dak Prescotts of the world and the Patrick Mahomes, to your point.
Even Tom Brady has gotten some help from them.
And Carson Wentz a couple years ago had a coach and ended up being his best season ever. So, all right, we can't talk about the offseason now. We're towards the end of this regular season, but our State 48 Roofing, it's your call question today. Colt McCoy has now won 3 of 4 games as a Card starter. Should Kingsbury leave him in as a starter until the bye week? Your choices are yes, offense will run smoother. No, Murray is better. 3, they should platoon.
I'll give you an update as it is right now. Yes, 40% is for yes, offense runs smoother. No, Murray is better. They're both at 40%. They should platoon 20%. Maybe that's probably out of the question. But if you're in dire need or somebody's somewhat injured or not quite 100%, I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury would do that. But at 40-40 right now, as far as yes, the offense runs smoother, or no, Murray is better. So debatable.
Some of the top stories today: the Cardinals released Eno Benjamin. I mean, he started 3 games so far for the injured James Conner. We're very kind of questionable. I've gotten some text messages from some Sun Devil faithful saying, "Hey, buddy, what's the word on Eno getting released? Doesn't make sense. There must be something internal, So we'll wait and see." Craig Fouie didn't know when we had him on the show last hour. He thought maybe we'll see him get signed to the practice squad, but he played only 1 offensive snap yesterday. He had 4 snaps on special teams in the past. Yesterday. I mean, he's just maybe he's in the doghouse.
I was going to say it, Rob. There's more to this than just cutting your backup running back go.
I agree.
I mean, the way a couple of things aside from the crackback block a couple weeks ago, whatever. I don't think that's part of it. There's something here where either Cliff and him or this organization aren't on the same page. And how wouldn't you be on the same page? Because Benjamin talked about. And Cliff Kingsbury talked about how hard he worked, how he looked. He said he looked the best out of all the running backs when he came back to training camp, even during the OTAs on top of that.
We also found out today, sadly, Zach Ertz is out for the season with the knee injury. I was at the game yesterday, and to see him carted off, he was so emotional. You could tell he knew he was done, so he's out for the season, according to multiple reports in the last half hour.
And Rock, I don't know if you couldn't see it from where you were at, but they showed the replay over and over. It's like he caught the ball, and he just made a cut on his left foot, and you could see as he made the cut back to the inside, the left knee just kind of destabilized. And when he went down and grabbed it, you could see on the cut on the turf. It seemed like it was like the same area that Odell Beckham, hurt his knee too in the Super Bowl. That it's not the turf per se. But the way he cut and he planted hard to cut back to the right, and that's where it could be an ACL, MCL, or both. But it's very unfortunate to lose one of your top weapons, and you're at the halfway point of the season, and you've been pretty much murderer's row with games you've got to win.
All right, so what does that mean now for the tight end position? Do we say hello to the
McBride?
The top pick in the second
round?
Well,
he's been playing. He's had,
Ertz has been the guy.
Yeah, he has. But I think that you look at the other kid, Stevenson's the other kid that is the backup. He dropped the pass yesterday. But I guess they may have to go back out and find another tight end. Maybe McWilliams comes back. Maybe he comes back. I don't think he's gotten picked up when he got let go a few weeks ago. So you look and see if he comes back. But, yeah, that's a huge loss. He's your red zone guy. He's your short yardage guy, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 tight end. And the way that he can separate, the way he runs routes is a huge blow for this Cardinals passing game.
All right, so generally tight ends are considered the bailout, the comfort zone for quarterbacks. Are you in on all that as well?
Well, not necessarily. Not today's offenses. If you have
so it's changed.
If you have a Kelsey, he's definitely the one guy. But Zach Ertz is always not so much it's a bailout guy because unless it's 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 5, you're always aware of where's your running back, where's your check down, where's your tight end, because the other guys are getting involved with the routes. With Zach Ertz, just his ability to wall off guys, short yardage, man-to-man coverage on a linebacker.
Sure.
I mean, that's my key. That's my mismatch.
That's your key.
Yeah, be my key. Be my mismatch if I had Zach Ertz. And unfortunately, with this Arizona Cardinals team, that is something they're going to definitely have to take a good hard look at and just kind of understand how they utilize Trey McBride as a rookie, not a real good blocker. So it's going to affect the game plan.
It will affect the game
that they're going to have. Okay, so Max Williams is on practice squad. Steven Anderson is on. Okay, so basically Williams is on the practice squad. They can activate him, which will probably do.
Thank you, Jack. Defense yesterday had 3 sacks. They had 12 registered hits on the quarterback. J.J. Watt led with 5, and Zach Allen and Xavier Collins also had a couple. As they got to Wolford.
They did.
Wolford's He's a bad quarterback.
looked
And
out of sorts,
I know
man.
Bryce was coming in.
Yeah.
It was good to see him come in, and it was all to run, but that was really it. And it was unfortunate they didn't give him more of an opportunity.
I agree. As a matter of fact, on that 1 and it's like 3rd and 14, he did that quarterback draw. If he doesn't get tripped, he might have broke that and taken that to the house and made it a 1-score game for the Rams. But yeah, I agree. I thought Wolford really. He was throwing a lot of high balls. His feet were not settled.
Yeah. Manuch, what happened to him? Because when he was with the 49ers, he played reasonably well. And then all of a sudden, or not the 49ers, who was he with?
He was with the Rams.
The Rams.
Yeah, he's always with the Rams.
I've never forget that. Yeah, with the Rams. I saw him play reasonably well, and I thought
it was against the 49ers.
It was against thank you, against the Niners. And
that they won in order to go to the playoffs.
Yes,
2 years ago.
Yeah. So what happened? How did
you know what?
happen?
If you're not playing and all of a sudden you've got a rush and you get a little unsettled, he threw off balance a couple times. Anytime a guy's anxious, you're gonna see that ball high. So he wasn't comfortable, didn't have the rhythm and tempo. And Sean McVay tried to give him plays to get him comfortable. And I think with Bryce Perkins, he brought him in to run some RPO, a couple of safe routes just to get Bryce some exposure unless Wolford were to go down. So I think they're going to hope that Matthew Stafford's ready to go. He should be ready to go next week coming out of that concussion protocol. But Wolford was out of sorts. And it was the pressure.
He was bad.
Yeah, the pressure coming up.
He was bad.
But guys, the Cardinals still have a lot of they had 10 penalties yesterday. Still several pre-snap penalties and then procedure penalties again that they've got to clean up.
Sure.
I don't understand. I'm watching going, man, oh man, another procedure. It's not as if Colt McCoy's cadence was throwing him off. It just guys moved. And I don't know, Rock, you can tell us how loud was it in there? He never went to a silent count.
No.
Snap count.
I mean, no, it was loud. It was louder than I would expect it for an LA-based crowd.
Right.
It was much louder. Like I told you at the start of the show, it was a really great emotion. I mean, it was loud. There was a lot of energy in that place. Yep. The DJs going, and they had a guitarist, some TikTok influencer that was out playing Guns N' Roses and AC/DC and stuff like that, and it was cool. I mean, they made it a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. A great place to see a game. We're gonna catch up Rudy Carpenter next. He'll break down this offense and more specifically Colt McCoy as the Cardinals get the 27-17 win over the Rams. We're live from the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. They got the new sports book. Get ready for tonight's Commanders-Eagles game, which will get going just after 6 o'clock. It's Fox Sports 910. A.J. Green, a 6-yard touchdown there. And McCoy finished 26 of 37, 238 yards, a touchdown. He averaged 6.5 yards per attempt. If you go back to what Kyler did last week, he was averaging 5 yards per attempt against Seattle. But joining us now, I'll be right to a guest line, former Sun Devil and NFL quarterback Rudy Carpenter. Rudy, how you doing, buddy? What's happening this Monday?
Oh, I'm doing good. Living the dream, enjoying the California weather.
I was there yesterday. I enjoyed it. It was nice weather, very, very nice. And so, what's your biggest takeaway? How'd you think Colt McCoy did?
Well, I thought he played great given the circumstances. Right, I think it's really, really difficult as a backup quarterback to play well. I mean, you get very, very, very little practice time. It's very difficult. So I thought Colt did a tremendous job. One of the things that stuck out to me the most is something that I think I've, really come on this show and talked about every week, which is, to me, the operation, the way plays are called, the way personnel is changed on and off the field, when the play is called, the play clock getting so low, pre-snap penalties, all of that has been terrible for the Arizona Cardinals and really has been terrible since Cliff has been here. With that being said, last year and this year, when Colt McCoy is the quarterback, the operation looks 100 times better to me. I don't know if anybody else sees it, but to me, that's the way that I feel. And it's interesting to me when you pair that with how well Colt has played, his completion percentage, the wins and losses, along with the study clause that the Arizona Cardinals try to put inside of Kyler Murray's contract.
Yeah, Rudy, I said the same thing at the open here when we talked about the last segment. I said the fluidity of the offense, the way things are run. I pretty much was a ditto of what you just said. And on top of that, Cliff talking about how well he prepared. He's a professional, in early, out late. Guys in the locker room really respect him. And I guess he did have a chance to be the guy all week, knowing that probably going to sit Kyler for this game. But I agree with you. I just see more more of a professionally run offense when Colt's in there. I don't see helter-skelter or grab bag. And it seems as though Cliff is more confident in the game, in the play calls that he calls when Colt's in there.
Well, it's a lot easier to predict. I mean, look, when you're a coach and you're a quarterback, and we all know, like, all right, everybody knows. The defense knows. I mean, defensive coaches know. Offensive coaches around the league know that, like, when a certain play is called, we all understand as players around the league and in the locker room how this play is going to be read, how the quarterback's going to look at it, how the quarterback's going to diagnose it. The information he's getting from that pre-snap read and post-snap read is telling him how he is going to progress through his read in the pass play. Almost all NFL teams do it the same. Almost all the coaches do it the same. Almost everybody runs the same offense and the same concepts. It's just about when you call them and how you call them and a bunch of other, minor details that are actually really big details. So that is what it is. And so when you're a coach and you're calling plays and you understand what the defense is doing and you can predict it, you can better predict what my quarterback's going to do. You can better predict how the quarterback's going to go through his progression. You can better predict on who's going to get the ball. You can better predict on who's going to get targeted. It's not just we're going to call the play and we're going to let Kyler go out there and do what Kyler's going to do. You've heard this a million times too, Dan. It's like, hey, if you make a mistake, that's fine. Just give your coach a good reason. Give him the answer as to why you made that decision. As long as you have an answer for why you made a certain decision, then it's a learning moment. We'll get better. Sometimes it works, sometimes it did. My fear with Kyler is that he's always been such a great athlete. He's always been someone who's been able to ad-lib. He's always been somebody who's been able to get himself out of trouble. And there comes a point in time where it doesn't work anymore. It still works now. It just doesn't work consistently all the time. And so now he has to become a precision passer. Now he has to learn how to play on time and make good decisions and throw with anticipation and be incredibly accurate. That's when it's really difficult. The guys who can do both, that's when they obviously become Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes is nowhere near the athlete that Kyler Murray is, but he presents the threat. But he's difficult to defend because he can touch every single blade of grass in the passing game. And ultimately, that's why the Arizona Cardinals paid Kyler Murray $250 million, because if he ever puts it all together, he can absolutely be the most dynamic player in the league.
All right, Rudy, let me follow up with that then. James Conner had a nice game running with the football. Kyler Murray hasn't had that the last couple of games. How did that change the dynamic then and made it easier for McCoy?
Well, there's no doubt that it made it easier and it changes the dynamic. I mean, you don't want to be predictable. I think the Los Angeles Rams over the last couple seasons, even with their success, have gotten into some trouble with their lackluster run game, or even the Bucks to a certain extent, or the Packers to a certain extent. But I don't think that's the issue. To me, I think it's been the same issue all year long, and this is where it's a little unfair for Cliff. The offensive line has been decimated, and it's really, really hard to play football at a high level and execute at a high level in the NFL when you have a decimated offensive line. It is really difficult. It is already hard enough to block. It is already hard enough to pass protect against guys like Aaron Donald. But when you have to do it with your backup players, it is impossible to do. So, I mean, that's, to me, what has been the big issue with the Arizona Cardinals. The big issue has been, obviously the injuries along the offensive line, and then they just haven't been able to put their entire roster of players together healthy on the field 100% at the same time yet this year. And again, look, I call out Cliff when I think he deserves to be called out, and I think he's one of the worst coaches in the NFL when it comes to operation and when it comes to situational football. But, I mean, on the other hand, it has definitely hurt him having all of these injuries and or suspensions. It's very difficult to play at a high level when you don't have your highest paid guys.
Rudy Carpenter joining us here on the right here to get us on Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B. Rudy, you look at Rondale Moore and the 9 catches yesterday. Are they finally getting him in rhythm, finally utilizing him in the manner they thought they would 2 years ago when they drafted him in the second round?
I have no idea, but I mean, what we know is that when he has the ball in his hands, he's dynamic. That's what we know. When he has the ball in his hands, he's dynamic. A matter of fact, we all come on here, and I know I haven't bashed Steve Keim a ton, and I think he deserves it. But look, all of these guys who he's brought in have all flashed. Kyler Murray has flashed. DeAndre Hopkins flashes. J.J. Watt flashes. A.J. Green has even flashed, right? Rondale Moore has flashed. Hollywood Brown has flashed. I mean, all of these guys have flashed. It's really been about getting them on the field and healthy and all executing at the same time at a high level, right? That is what the issue is. And so, I mean, I think ultimately, again, it's just really, really hard to win when you don't have your most explosive players like Rondale Moore. But again, I think it also, when you have Colt McCoy as your quarterback, and you can call plays with the understanding that when we call this play, this is the guy we're trying to get the ball to, and you can rely on him making that decision and doing what he's coached to do and what the play is designed to do, rather than someone who just decides he wants to throw it to Hopkins because, or he wants to run because, or he wants to throw this ball just because. I mean, I think it makes it easier as a play caller, and maybe that's part of the issue too.
Our State for you, roofing at your call question today, Rudy. I want to throw it by you. Colt McCoy has now won 3 of 4 games as a Cardinals QB. Should Cliff Kingsbury leave him in at starter until the bye? And the answers are either yes, offense runs smoother, no, Murray's better, or 3, they should platoon. Even Rudy, we're going to go to @Roc and Manuch on Twitter and vote. What way would you lean on this?
Well, I mean, look, to me, it's not even a question that you can ask because, look, everybody understands the business. Business-wise, you can't pay a guy what you're paying Kyler Murray and not playing. It's not going to happen. However,
until the bye, though, Rudy. Until the bye. This is make or break time.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I mean, for me, I would do it just because I feel like, and I want to see. You know, for me, I would do it. Yeah.
He's the man. We always love having him on the show. That's good stuff.
I second the motion.
Politically correct there. I love it. So, hey, Rudy, as always, man, thanks for making time for us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good week.
Hey, you can follow him on Twitter, Rudy G Carp 12. believe he's verified. I think he's going to pay the $8 or whatever it is to get verified on Twitter. So Rudy G Carp 12. And I don't know what it is. Well, Jax would know. How much is it going to cost to get verified on Twitter?
I think it's $8.
It's $8.
Yeah, it's
All
$8.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Get the check mark, right? Get
Yes,
that check
that's
mark.
blue mark.
So yeah. So hey, he's brought to you by All City Towing, and they are growing. That's right. They're hiring. Head to allcitytowing.com. They got current full-time positions available right now. And they have incredible benefits, including a 401k program that has a generous company match, the fastest way
Frank Sanders joins Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch, now on Fox Sports 910.
To the end zone. A.J. Green makes the catch. Spectacular for a Cardinals touchdown.
Oh, you guys are hot.
In the corner of the end zone.
That's AJ Green. Remember him? Got a 6-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Fox. And do you remember our next guest? Of course you do.
Always.
Frank
man.
Sanders joins us now on the right Toyota guest line as he's a part of Go PHNX. Played for the Cardinals, of course, and he's always with us on Mondays. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Frank?
Hey, brothers, how y'all doing? Doing pretty good. Last week, I was having a counseling session with JD.
Okay.
That would be Jack Daniels.
Yes.
And if we lost this week, it was going to be Casadora or some form of Casa Amigo.
A win's a win. You'll take them.
Yeah.
You know, you hear ugly wins, all that stuff. But, hey, yeah, you go into their house and you bring it home, and that was good considering the offensive line beat up, backup quarterback. What's your initial takeaway from Colt McCoy's performance?
Efficient. Just efficient. If I got one word for it, it's efficient.
Okay.
The guy just was 100% efficient. I went back and looked at last time the Cardinals played the Rams on September 25th. We lost to the Rams 20-12. Roc, Manuch, JB, it was the exact same game plan called on both sides of the field. Sean McVay called the same offense. Your boy Cliff called the exact same offense. He had one or two wrinkles in there with a screen play that was a fake screen that ended up turning to a nice little throw by Colt to D-Hops. But everything else was the exact same game plan. Nothing changed. Of course, the offensive line was different, and they didn't have Matthew Stafford. But the effectiveness and the efficiency of Colt McCoy was absolutely on display, and it was good to see.
Would you consider here, Frank, the $64,000 question? Consider playing Colt McCoy the next 2 games up until the bye, and just kind of have Kyler just take care of that hammy because of the effectiveness, the fluidity, and the execution of the offense that we saw with Colt McCoy in there at quarterback?
How about deja vu from last year to the same situation that we have? A rolled ankle after a Thursday night football game between the Green Bay Packers, and next thing you know, our boy is out for a couple of weeks, and then we roll him over until the bye week, and then it kind of looks like the same situation coming up again. I cannot say that I would do it just because I think that you always want to play your best. You want to put the best players out there for the best moment. If he's feeling good to go, I got to play K1. Colt McCoy said it specifically. I'm the backup quarterback. I'm out here to do one job, and if it's K1 can't go, I'm supposed to go. But I will say this here, though. If I'm any one of those receivers and I saw how efficient their offense ran, I swear to God, I'm telling you right now, number 81 might be screaming for Colt McCoy and telling the boy to take another week off.
I was just going to go down that road, Frank, because you saw a lot of communication with 3, 4, 5 different receivers and Colt McCoy several times on that sideline. And because of that fact, they are efficient with the passing game. Read, react, get the ball out to the right guy versus a helter-skelter kind of passing game when Kyler's in there.
You're absolutely right, sir. That's why I went back to watch the film to see if anything was different. Like, because I know you watch our offense and how effective it looked. It was 5-yard stop, 5-yard passing, 1-yard, 2-yard passing, get the ball out of his hand very fast versus a very effective defensive front. But it was the same game plan. And if you go back and watch it, you'll see that we ran 5-yard routes, 5 to 7-yard routes, and quick stops. And Kyler just missed them, and he didn't get the ball out as effective or as efficient as Colt did. So that's the beauty of it right now. I think let's just be honest with ourselves. And I'll say this, Roc. Here's what happens as a receiver. When you have a running quarterback, there's always a potential for something to break down, and him to try to extend the play for the Murray Magic or something big down the field. That's what every scrambling quarterback kind of has in their repertoire when they can get out of the pocket. But honestly, when you have a quarterback that sits in the pocket, but you said Manuch was absolutely on point, read and react, that just allows your offense and the offensive line to feel a lot more. They trust things differently. And I think that's what you see that we saw on Sunday at display. And again, how about this here? That's it. That just tells us that Cliff actually was Cliff really doing something really good?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Frank, I'm curious. We did have an A.J. Green sighting yesterday, but we have not had a Robbie Anderson sighting. In fact, he dropped the ball that was right in his hands. Did they do a bump deal here, or are you still okay with that trade?
You know what I'm going to have to say? I'm going to have to say that I'm going to have to be okay with it because I think Robbie Anderson does have a skill set. We all can agree to that. Learning a new offense on the fly, becoming the guy who, when you're looking at DeAndre Hopkins field and catch, get 15 to 16 targets, and you realize you went from possibly being a 1B or a 1C receiver over at Carolina, and you come here, now you're like, you're probably somewhere D, E, F on the list of who gets the ball, and I think that sometimes becomes discouraging. But I think he has a good skill set. I think he just has to figure some things out, and we'll find. Hopefully, he'll be effective down the road because we still got 7 games to play, guys. And it's not going to get easier; it's only going to get tougher.
He's Frank Sanders joining us here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910. So, what you are seeing right now with the San Francisco 49ers, their next opponent, they are playing some incredible football right now. Came off a bye week. They're able to use Debo and McCaffrey out of the backfield at the same time. So you don't know what's going to happen there. A little concerned about next Monday night?
Got a full bottle of Casador on hand right now, brother.
Always prepared, aren't you, Frank? Always prepared. Let me ask you this.
Let him finish.
Go ahead. Okay, I thought but that was a statement right there. I don't know. I think he dropped the mic or dropped the bottle on that one.
Brother, look. They look good, man. They create problems in every area of our weaknesses, offensively and defensively. Defensively, let's looking at our linebackers do not cover very well in space. That just beats us up, and they got a good tight end that neutralizes, either Thomas or Buda Baker in a lot of areas. So these guys, that's just something that we struggle with on defense. Offensively, they got a very good front 4, actually a good front 7, and they just make stuff happen. So we have to have another good game plan in place. I don't care who's the quarterback. I think that you're on the road, you're in a different environment. But it does take your leaders to come out and play and be effective. Communication wise, what we saw out of Coach, if he's going to be the quarterback, then Tyler has to take on that same mentality that the leaders got to speak now, and they have to see where they are in the season on how to be able to realize that they have to seize these moments. And it won't get easier for us because it's a division opponent. It's something that we can make happen because our defense can put some pressure on Garoppolo and make get some turnovers and hopefully go score some points. But if we don't, it's going to be a long game or ugly game because they do have where their strengths are. They will expose our weaknesses.
Frank, what's the altitude there is like 7,500 feet. I know San Francisco is going to Denver to practice the entire week before they head to Mexico City. Will that have a bearing effect? And used to play in Denver, that mile highlight that this is about another 1,000 feet higher than Denver, and there's San Francisco going into Denver to practice and get ready for that.
Well, you have to look at it now from an organizational standpoint. I would say that that's one of the smartest moves you can do because for a fact you guys are gonna have to make that transition. If we're not doing anything similar to that, I'm gonna have to say, man, that we're being the 8 ball already because when you get off that bus, you want to have your lungs and your body and your ability to recover extremely fast in the first and second quarter. Because by that time, if you've already put your opponent away, the third and fourth quarter does not matter. And I think that's something what happens. Most teams that go to play in higher altitudes, it takes them about the third and fourth quarter to figure it out and how to get their bodies adjusting to it. So hopefully we got a game plan that's over here that will work for us. Maybe these guys are sleeping in buried chambers or something like that, or they're in some cryogenic cell, or these guys are some kind of I don't know. But it's smart on San Fran that we have to make those adjustments too.
Frank, you could always go to Flagstaff, practice inside at the Dome.
How dare you say something like that? Michael turned that deal down.
Not a chance.
He and the Chamber of Commerce don't see eye to eye anymore.
That's not going to happen.
They don't.
Hey, Frank, real quick, Justin Jefferson's catch yesterday of the Vikings. Better than OBJ's that everybody keeps talking about? Better than any catch you've ever had?
Definitely better than any catch I've ever had. That's just one word is stupid. Like just stupid. Here's a young rising star, man. He's taking every advantage of what it means to be an NFL wide receiver. We're transitioning from college to the pros. He's a top draft pick. I'm not afraid of the limelight. And guess what? Even if the hype is big, he's still answering every question that you can have about a receiver. And I'm so proud of him. I'm glad to see what he's doing. Better than OBJ. Hell of a catch OBJ made. 3 fingers.
Yeah.
3 fingers, bro. 3 fingers, 60 yards down the field, going backwards. 3 fingers. I don't know. I've seen D Hops make some real stupid catches in my lifetime, but that catch yesterday was pretty spectacular. It's up there in the top. I say 10 at least.
Do you put that up with Edelman's catch in the Super Bowl?
You know what? It's always in the moment, man. I think that, for the catches that they made during those times were pretty special. To win the Super Bowl, what Eldo did off the helmet, around the guy's ankles, between his jock strap.
And not hit the ground.
Not hit the ground, yeah.
Are you talking about David
not hit the ground,
Tyree's
right?
catch?
No, Edelman's catch.
See, I think David Tyree.
He just caught it on his helmet.
I know, the helmet catch, but, he's using his.
But Edelman's catch.
He needed an aid to make a catch, Rob.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Frank, make it a good week. All right, buddy? We'll talk to you next week.
I look forward to it, brother. I hope I'm not on tequila next week.
Yeah, we're not going to get you on Monday night before the Cardinal game. We'll get you next week, right? We'll get him.
Yeah, absolutely we're gonna get him. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, maybe
it wouldn't be a Monday without Frank Sanders.
But he may have some responsibilities for Go PHX. You never know.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Hey, our 15th annual Twin Peaks Fan Pickup Contest is back. It's powered by Blue Moon and Coors Light. You can pick each week's pro games for our weekly man cards from Twin Peaks. Go to fanpick'em.com to get signed up. It's never too late. Our Learner Row 1 call is next. It'll be Rudy Carpenter. Plus, we'll tell you what's on tap. Thanks to our friends at 72 Soul. That's next from Casino, Arizona, and the CAZ Sports Bar. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Fox Sports 910.
look, all of these guys who he's brought in have all flashed. Kyler Murray has flashed. DeAndre Hopkins flashes. J.J. Watt flashes. A.J. Green has even flashed, right? Rondale Moore has flashed. Hollywood Brown has flashed. I mean, all of these guys have flashed. It's really been about getting them on the field and healthy and all executing at the same time at a high level, right? That is what the issue is.
That is the former quarterback, Arizona State and Dallas Cowboys, Rudy Carpenter, joined us today. Always does on Mondays. Always brings it in regards to what's going on with the Cardinals and Sun Devil football. We didn't get a chance to talk about football with Sun Devils as
tough loss.
That was
on Saturday.
Yeah.
Really tough.
I don't know if it was a tough loss.
Well, you needed that to be bowl eligible, Rock.
Out.
Yeah, they did. It was a rough, let's put rough first half.
Yeah, 28-0.
Trenton Bourguet had a really rough first half, as did the entire offense. But I wanted to real quickly respond to Rudy in reference to D-Hop and Rondale Moore. I hope that Rondale Moore, that with the 9 catches yesterday, and we had 7 last week, that we're going to start to see that more consistently. And talk about a catch. The catch he had on the sideline, what a phenomenal catch that was to pin that down with his one arm. And then with Robbie Anderson, you talk about Robbie Steven Anderson dropped the pass yesterday. It was last week that Robbie dropped the one.
Yeah.
But I guess he's going to be in the fold now that Zach Ertz is out for the rest of the year. You're going to have to see more of Robbie Anderson, whether we like it or not, and get him more incorporated to be more of a flash, as Rudy alluded to.
Benjamin out. If you're not here, he was released today, and
it's a head scratcher there, Rock.
It really is. And what was interesting is all it said in their press release today. Cardinals released Benjamin. Arizona Cardinals Football Club today announced that the team has released running back Eno Benjamin. Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Well, and we will catch up with Bob McManaman tomorrow at 3:30 and try to get the bottom line.
Let the news cycle do its thing.
Yeah.
It'll come out. Someone will find out. All right, let's get to what's on tap tonight.
What's on tap? Powered by 72 Soul. A look at the top sports action tonight on TV. Get our price, a higher price at 72soul.com.
All right, Monday Night Football, 6:15 on ESPN. Eagles are hosting the Washington Commanders. We're here at the CAZ Sports Bar hosting that. It'll be myself and Jax and Barney. So we got the A-team tonight. Because Manuch requested off. Because tonight on NBC, the top 16 performances of The Voice. So it's very important that him and his wife could take some time, but they're going to be jumping over to Disney Plus because Dancing with the Stars is on too.
Dang, Skippy Rock.
And Bachelor in Paradise is also on. So you have 3 shows that you got to kind of go back and forth with.
And we will too, because we'll probably tape one or the other and then go back to eventually get that all done.
Did you just
Absolutely.
accept it?
I know he does.
Just taste it.
Because he watches.
He will be really good in that new professional slapping league.
Yes, he will.
You would be great. Manuch, bam! Suns and Heat tonight. No Chris Paul tonight either. Valley Sports, that's coming up at 5:30. Looking ahead, later in the week, ASU is at VCU, the Legends Classic. It's an ESPN Plus game. Warriors are hosting the Suns on Wednesday. So, and then Utah Tech. Who's Utah Tech? We found out today. That's the old Dixie State.
Yeah.
Dixie State. And so what did you learn today? Well, you found out that Dixie State is now Utah Tech.
Yeah.
And they're the Trailblazers. The UT Trailblazers.
And Jax, our fine intern / rookie here, found out the main reason was, as I mentioned, is that they took a poll amongst a lot of the alumni and folks. They didn't like the connotation of the South.
Dixie.
They went Dixie. So as conservative as the state of Utah, they changed it to Utah Tech. That's what the survey and
believe it.
Research said,
You
man.
hear Dixie State, I would think it's in Texas.
There you go.
Or down
in
south.
The south. Yeah.
You know,
Mississippi.
or south, yeah.
Mississippi.
I mean, deep in the heart of Texas or deep down south, with Dixie.
What's on tap? Powered every day here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B by America's leading home selling program. That's 72 Sold. Everyone knows the home sales market is getting tougher. Interest rates kind of went down a little bit last week, which was nice. But the number of sales are down. The prices are down. But 72 Sold is still getting top dollar for their customers. You're making a mistake to go in the traditional route. So let 72 Sold find a solution for you to take advantage of selling your home right now. Go to 72sold.com. Get your price, a higher price at 72sold.com. CAZSportsBar.com.
Our State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question of the day. You still go to @Roc and Manuch on Twitter. Colt McCoy has now won 3 of 4 games as a Cardinals quarterback. Should Cliff Kingsbury leave him as the starter? Here were your options. Yes, offense runs smooth. No, Murray is better. Or they should platoon. Well, currently tied is yes, offense runs smooth at 40%. No, Murray is better at 40%. And should they platoon at 20%? So 50-50, basically close to, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I know it was the Rams, but this offense just looked smoother, more effective, more fluid. I just like the way that Colt McCoy, as a veteran, just sees it and gets it done.
I just hope his tests are negative today. I haven't heard, with his knee. He got beat up a little bit
dinged
yesterday.
up.
He did.
And, if he's hurting and Kyler's not ready,
Trace McSorley,
bring him on
against the 49ers in that defense.
And unfortunately,
oh my gosh.
Zach Ertz is out now for the year, which is the knee, which is just awful.
Do they go get Andy Isabella again since Trace McSorley in preseason threw the ball to Andy Isabella like 15 times?
He's on someone's practice squad.
Baltimore.
Ravens, with the Ravens. Yeah, that ship has sailed, Jimmy.
Oh, I know it has.
Yeah, I mean, called Max. If Trace McSorley has to go, it's max protection.
Yep.
He can run a little bit. You roll him, get him outside, inside. It might be a long LONNNG day if Trace McSorley's got to play.
So why would this gentleman sit right there when all our stuff's right there, when he's got this entire place to sit? He sits right there.
He wants to be close to Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B.
That's just odd to me. Anyway, that'll do it for us here on a Monday at Casino Arizona. Again, our jackpot's starting at just $2,200. You win cash just for watching football. It's our 22nd year hosting this. And this could be a pretty tight game for Washington, as they played Minnesota quite well last week. It kept them tight. Eagles had a little bit of rest here. We'll see what we're going to see. They're healthier, I should say. Everyone's banged up for the most part, but we'll see. Game time is 6:15 as the time changed. Remember last week, so people are still getting used to that. So good stuff.
Your Eagles, Rock, can they continue on?
9-0.
9-0. Hey, 1972 Miami Dolphins, heads up. Here come the Eagles.
I think you got to be at 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Too early. We don't need what's his name. Who's the guy that's always?
Oh, Mercury Morris.
No, we don't need.
Breaks out the champagne.
They always.
Oh man.
10.
Enjoy while you can, Rock.
We'll see you back here at 1:00 tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Good night.